All right. Hey, how you doing? It's Ethan Van Sciver. Welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Doing a cold open today. No music. We're obviously in mourning, and I'm gonna do my best to eulogize Stan Lee, who we just lost. So Stan Lee just passed on the age of 95, and I want to celebrate his life, and I want to talk about what Stan Lee's work meant to comics, and I want to talk about everything that I think we all might be feeling right now. What I'm feeling. How are you, Critias?
I'm doing good. How's everything with you guys?
Good, 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 good. Um, yeah, so we lost Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Stan Lee was not 95 years old. I'm gonna just, you know what? I'm gonna go and screen share. Let's see, screen share. This. All right. So, oh God, ordinarily CNN is fake news. Of course, CNN is fake news. This time it's not fake. This article is not fake news from CNN. Stan Lee, Marvel Comics visionary, dead at 95. Um, Stan Lee, the colorful Marvel Comics patriarch who helped usher in a new era of superhero storytelling and saw his creations become a giant influence in the movie business, has died. He was 95 years old. Kirk Schneck, an attorney for Lee's daughter, tells CNN the comic giant was taken by an ambulance from his Los Angeles home on Monday morning, according to Cedar Sinai Medical Center, where he later died. The cause of death is not yet known, according to Schneck. But he's 95 years old. He was a guy who moved around a lot. Stan Lee lived his life to the very last second, didn't he?
Mhm.
He was always out. He was always out meeting fans. He was always out doing stuff. Um, Lee began his career at what was then Timely Comics in 1939. Back in the very very golden age with the Submariner and Captain America, Human Torch. I gotta get some Human Torch comics. I'm gonna get some golden age Human Torch comics. I could do that, Critias. I have a
Yeah.
little money. You know,
Sounds like a good plan. I would do it if I could afford it.
yeah. I might invest in one. Not too many. I don't want to collect too many things, but just having one Human Torch comic from the
Right.
1940s, I'd really like that.
Right.
So over the years, he was a writer, editor, and occasional illustrator. But bored with the output, he was preparing to leave the company when history took a sudden turn. For many years, the business had been dominated. Listen to all this very carefully and just ask yourself if history isn't repeating itself, and if this isn't just being echoed right now. For many years, the business had been dominated by DC, then National Comics, creators of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Green Lantern. In the late 50s, DC started reimagining its heroes, kicking off what historians call the Silver Age of business. But those figures were still largely otherworldly and two dimensional, living in made up places such as Metropolis and Gotham City. But in the early 60s, Lee was asked to come up with a team of superheroes to compete against DC's Justice League. With the notable help of artists such as Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko, I would argue, those guys were instrumental. I
Right.
wouldn't call them help. I would call them, it was 50-50. If not, because I'm an artist, I would say 40-60 towards the artist there. He helped instigate a revolution, though Lee didn't see it that way at the time. If
Hmm.
my publisher, he says, hadn't said, let's do superhero stories, I'd probably be still doing A Kid Called Outlaw, The Two Gun Kid, or Millie the Model, or whatever I was doing at the time. And this is the stuff that people were doing in the 1950s, because the 1950s was they had just gotten done, with Frederick Wordham and Seduction of the Innocent, and the government was heavily. I don't know. The government was looking at the comic book industry very carefully and wondering if it was perverting children, and they, kind of stepped in and really kind of stepped on the neck of the comic book industry
Right.
and stopped letting it be fun and scary. No more violent, gory comics. People had to sort of toe the line. It was the comics code. And then Stan Lee comes in, and he was going along with it. He was going along with what they were asking him to do. He was producing harmless comics that weren't really shaking up the world. Westerns, Millie the Model. Marvel revitalized the comics business with a series of flawed, more human superheroes. Its figures lived in the real world. A few were based in New York City with all its dirt and clamor, and struggled with everyday challenges, whether it was paying the rent or wondering their purposes in life. First came the Fantastic Four, a superhero team probably famous for the grumpy, rock-skinned Thing. Following the success, Lee and Marvel introduced such characters as Spider-Man, the Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, the X-Men, and Daredevil. Oh man, I feel like I'm gonna cry. Hold on, I didn't. I honestly, I just got hit by a wave of emotion, and
Yeah,
I
I hear you.
all right, get it together, eh? Uh, oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Take your
God,
time, E. Take your time.
rest in peace, Stan the Man.
Yeah.
I'm angry at the way this industry treated him at the
Mhm.
last couple years of his life. I'm
Right.
really, I talked about it. I talked about it on this channel.
Yeah.
I'm angry at the way this industry treated this man. I don't think it's possible. And I think everyone has felt stress, over the past couple of years. I don't think it's possible for the comic book industry to have treated this man with more disrespect, to have put more stresses on him, to have disgraced him, any more than what he went through. I don't think it's possible. I can't think of circumstances that would have been more humiliating and degrading to this man,
Right.
than what he went through in the last year.
Took advantage of him.
And I said that. I said it at the time. I was like, hashtag me too. Yeah, Stanley, sexual
Mhm.
harasser. You want to do that to him? You want to steal his blood and actually print comic books with Stanley's blood signature on there without his knowing, without his permission? You want to do that to him?
Right.
You want to abuse him, kick him around, steal his money? Uh, man, I'm angry.
Yeah.
I'm so angry. And I said, this man should not be out there running around doing autographs, flying
Mhm.
from state to state, signing autographs for long lines of his fans. He should not be doing that, and the fans should not be asking that of him.
Right. He should have been home, retired, and just enjoying, his career. What he established.
Absolutely, he should have been on a beach with his family, and having a drink,
Mhm.
enjoying the ocean, enjoying the California ocean, just in a big house, being looked after by people who cared for him and loved him. But they worked him like they worked him like a punching bag, and they abused him at the same time. And oh
Right.
man, it makes me angry. And I know this isn't the right thing to say, like for a eulogy, but I'm boy, I do
Right.
I do get I do get angry when I think about it, because
I
I knew
mean,
this was coming.
right. Right. I was telling earlier on his stream. Stan, he established a lot for us, for future readers and generations that will pick up comics. And if you want to honor him, you have to do what he did. You got to lead the way and bring more people into this industry to enjoy these stories. You know, and if you
Hmm.
have an old comic shirt with somebody who doesn't read comic, and try to bring these people in and show what Stan and Jack Kirby and you know everybody does, what they fought for.
Yeah.
Share it.
I want to live by his example. I do.
Right.
I want to, I want to do the stuff that Stan Lee did, because, now is the time to do it. Now when we talk about Comicsgate and comics being heavily weighed down by, oppressive politics, this time from the left,
Right.
by ideologues who are repressing comics, and
Right.
then to just sort of thrive the way he did and still be creative within that, is extraordinary. It's extraordinary. Um, and yeah, I look at his life now. I first heard of Stan Lee when he was narrating the cartoons of the 1980s. Hey, this is
Right.
Stan Lee, True Believers. And then he'd introduce the Hulk cartoon, which I love, the Saturday morning Hulk cartoon. We're talking like 1982, around then.
That was dope.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
I was just
Do
born
you
around
remember
that
that?
time.
Were you?
I was just
Oh,
born like
okay,
81,
yeah.
so I didn't get to see it.
He just had a great voice, and I was like, who is this Stan Lee? And my dad was just like, well, let me tell you who Stan Lee is, because my father, was a big Marvel Comics fan
Hmm.
growing up.
That's awesome,
And
man.
yeah, and he brought me home. Let's see. So I knew who Stan Lee was all through the 1980s when because of his narration
Right.
of these comics. But it wasn't until I got super curious about these characters because I'd seen Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. I knew who they were basically, but I didn't understand who the Fantastic Four were. I didn't know the X-Men. I wanted to know who these characters were because it was around 1987 that I started going to Blankenbush Drugs in Merchantville, New Jersey, and Blankenbush Drugs, little mom and pop's drugstore, and they had a comic rack. Comics were still you could still buy comic books on the newsstand. They had a comic book rack in the back of their store. By the way, they also had a Playboy magazine sitting out. And I remember like the guy would go in the back to smoke, and I'd like page through the new Playboy magazine. This is like 1982 or so as well. But anyway, that drugstore, I went back to it. It was always there. They always had comics, and I would buy them as a kid just for fun. I'd buy Ghost Rider. I'd buy Star Wars comics. The awful Star Wars comic book magazine from the 80s, and
Right.
you know, um, 1987, I started to really care about them and want to read them. And the first comic book that I really read and took in was Man of Steel #1. But then I went back to start investigating Marvel comics, and there was a comic book. It was Fantastic Four versus the X-Men #1, and that might have been the first comic that just cracked my inner eye open. Like that.
Right.
That actually, I knew the characters. I loved the characters. Well, the basic characters, the DC characters that I grew up with, the Super Friends. But I was like intensely curious about these very, very strange heroes that I'd seen my whole life, but didn't really understand.
Right.
And that book woke me up. I mean, that book woke me up into comics and changed my life. I still have copies of it, on my rack, on my spinner rack. I went out and I found copies of the Fantastic Four versus the X-Men miniseries from 1987. The series that made me fall in love with comics. Somebody had a set of them autographed by Chris Claremont, by Terry
Mm.
Austin, who was a friend of mine in the early 90s, and John Bogdanove, who I worship as, I exaggerate and say as a god. But anyway, I really think he's great. Those books opened me up to a whole world of Marvel comics. I was an obsessive Marvel zombie all through the late 80s and into the 90s. I wasn't interested in DC comics at all. Hi, Mike. How you doing?
So,
My
man.
dad killed Stan Lee.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. uh,
So bad.
Mike,
That was bad timing.
yeah, that really was bad timing. All right, so yeah, well, I'll explain that. So yesterday on Twitter, I was remarking about how loaded my social media was. Just people talking about me endlessly, and I think I glibly said I must be the most famous man in comics.
Right.
And Mike said, "Well, only if Stan Lee dies, or only
Mm.
if Stan Lee died." And he said that yesterday. So, Mike,
Oh.
sorry, that's awkward. That's like, yeah, that's bad. Yeah. So, anyway, it did. Yeah, you would say that didn't age well. That didn't age well.
Right.
Anyway, my dad, who I, had a complicated relationship with as a kid. Complicated because I think my dad was a profoundly flawed guy at the time. He's a Mormon who had 9 kids, and he didn't know how to work to feed us all, and so we were dead broke and always poor growing up, really poor. My dad found a comic book store, so I'm still buying these comics at Blankenbush Drugs, the corner drugstore. I'm buying everything if I can find 75 cents. I'm looking for 3/4 so I can buy another comic book. And my dad came home from work one day, and he worked in Mount Holly, New Jersey. There was a comic book store there called Comic Museum, and I mean, on like you want to blow a kid's mind. comic museum. They have old comics there. He's like, my dad went there and he basically bought, well, he should have been feeding us, but he bought the entire Barry Windsor Smith Conan run. He had like a pristine copy of Conan the Barbarian #1. He brought me home a beautiful copy of Amazing Spider-Man #17 and gave it to me as a gift for my birthday. And that book, it had Spider-Man. It was written by Stan Lee, drawn by Steve Ditko. It had the Human Torch in it and Spider-Man teaming up against the Green Goblin. It was like the second or third appearance of the Green Goblin. And man, I'm telling you, all this guy Stan Lee changed my life in such a profound way that I'm eternally grateful for his enormous imagination. I'm grateful for his spirit of kindness, goodwill, his endless enthusiasm, excitement that he tried to share. I'm in awe of that. I'm in awe of that. And there must have been so many times when he was discouraged. He never let it show, except to me once. And I've told that story, which is pretty funny. That insight into Stan Lee is precious to me. It's precious to me.
You get that video up, right, on your channel?
Yeah. There's a nice video that I have of Stan Lee. I said, Stan, can I? He was just he was signing comics, and I said, Stan Lee, I want to do a 1-question interview with you. He's like, okay, shoot. And so I, rolled the camera and I just said, who's your favorite Spider-Man villain? And Stan said, and you can watch the video if you can find it. It's really, really early on. It's like right before Halloween of last year. So it's 1 year ago. And Stan Lee goes, I don't like it. What do you mean villains? He's like that. We don't like villains. They're naughty, bad. He's like, shame on them. Shame on them. I'm like, all right. So out of all of the horrible villains that you've created, all the bad boys that you've created, which one's your favorite? Like from Spider-Man. And he said, well, what about, I think he asked me what mine was. And I said, I think the Scorpion. And he said he ended up saying that Green Goblin was his favorite villain just because he liked the alliteration of the name. And it was just fun. Like, he's like, I don't even remember all of the Dr. Octopus. It was fun to sort of go, like, talk to Stan Lee and just be like, what do you think? Like, you created these characters, and he's created so many characters that when you ask him, what is your favorite Spider-Man villain? He has to sort of go through a little Rolodex in his head. They're so very familiar to us and so important. They're just villains that he created, in his 30s, for comic, and it's astonishing. It really was. It's an amazing thing to just try to think about having that sort of impact on pop culture. And we lost him today.
I was saying on my show, it was funny because I was doing my Bible show earlier, and I learned about it when I was starting the show. People were posting in the show, and I'm like, what? And so the whole thing just became about Stan Lee. And one of the things I was saying is, like, he's more, because of how our culture is today, and it's mostly about pop culture. He's more influential as a writer than like Hemingway or freaking Shakespeare. He has influenced this generation more than any other fiction writer in our time. And it's weird to say it, right? Because it's I mean, freaking Hemingway and Shakespeare, but I think it's if you did a poll, it would be absolutely true,
Yeah, I mean, without question, he's the most important creative voice of I would say, well, he's up there, of the 20th century. I mean, extremely important, and just a creative imagination, a mind. But I think about everything that he gave. He literally gave his blood to his fans. Literally gave his blood to his fans, like, unwillingly. Okay, so let me snarl and say unwillingly. But this guy gave every last bit of his energy to his fans, all the way through till the end of his life, and he didn't have to. I mean, all of his little appearances that he did in those movies must have been incredibly painful. Traveling around to all those conventions, signing stacks upon stacks upon stacks, and you haven't even seen what that looked like. I mean, you just think, well, I stood in line, I got my comic book signed by Stan Lee, and it's in a way, thanks for doing that. I'm sure it was like $70 to get his autograph, and I'm sure that really helped out his family. I think, even though everything that was going on this past year with Stan Lee, with just the crooked people around him,
Right.
is
Yeah,
extremely distressing.
right. I've read that he was giving out his autographs at first for free, and then they told him to start charging for it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I would say absolutely charge for
Right.
your signature when you're Stan Lee.
Hmm.
I said that to people. People are like, well, are you going to start charging for your autograph? When I was doing conventions, I'd say no, not until I'm 80 years old and I can no longer draw for people. And then at that point, if people want my autograph, yeah, I hope they will pay me for my signature when that's all my hand can do.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely pay Stan Lee for his signature. But then again, on the other hand, stop asking Stan Lee to come places and sign comics when he's 95 years old and clearly,
Right.
at the end of his life.
Yeah, but he did say, and I have the utmost respect for him, that he never wanted to retire, because what the hell would he do?
Yeah, I think
feel the same way. So
yeah, I think not retiring is good. I think he should have stayed creative, and all of that. I just don't think wheeling him around from place to place and having him signing autographs is grueling. I mean, it really is. It's not fun. That's not that's not work. That's not. I mean, it's not like creative work. That's beneath him. I don't know. And I said, I think I said 6 months ago, I said, guys, do me a favor. I mean, if you're a Comicsgate and if you care, like, do not wait in line for Stan Lee's signature. Do not do it. Don't encourage like these conventions to bring him out, because the whole thing just seems sinister to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I'm salty. I'm really salty. I'm like, I feel like crying. I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel like a whole mixture of stuff. And at the same time, I think like the main thing I feel is just an overwhelming wave of nostalgia. And I want to stay positive about it and just think about what Stan Lee meant to us.
Yeah, he's been that voice in our heads. I mean, not just us as kids, but dude, remember those old like motion comic cartoons they had, right?
Yeah.
Where Hulk would just float across. Those were like in the 60s, man. He would always intro and outro all of those videos, all of those cartoons. He's been the voice in the head of kids for 60 years.
Those cartoons in the 60s were hilarious. Who came up with those theme songs? They're so funny. I remember getting those on, like, again, I was an obsessive, Marvel zombie and consumer of all things Marvel from 1987 to 1993. Okay, that was it's weird that it's such a small period of time, my fanship in comics. I think, like when I was actually just hungry for comic books all the time, instead of hungry for just pie. I was always buying comics, always. And so anything related to Marvel Comics, I wanted to.
Much thinner, I want to remind you.
I was much thinner. It's healthier. It's healthier to be hungry for comic books. But yeah, like I found videos. They had videotapes, VHS videotapes of those early Marvel cartoons.
Yeah.
And I bought all those and was like, what the hell is this? When I heard the theme songs, I thought it was somebody making fun of Marvel Comics. It was very disturbing. But man, those were great. And then you just saw that Jack Kirby artwork brought to life.
Yeah.
Stands with Jack Kirby now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And Bob
Think
Kane.
about that. Yeah.
Bob
and Steve Ditko, Gil Kane.
They're all making comic books up there.
Bob Kane, no.
No, Bob Kane, not Bob Kane.
He's in the other.
Bob Kane's in the other place. Don't say that.
That's
Oh no. Stan Lee is most definitely in the highest kingdom of heaven. I mean, without question. That was a man who did so much, gave so much of himself, made so many people happy. And Stan Lee is up there right now being thanked.
That's why I'm on I don't know the situation he was in, like realistically. All I know is that Stan loved his fans, and he was astonished that anybody wanted his autograph. And the fact that he would go out there as a 95-year-old man and service his fans was just astonishing to me. You know?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's so. You know what? I'm gonna mind wipe myself, and I'm gonna think of things that way. I'm gonna think of that of it that way because I think
Nobody
that's
can force him, right?
What?
Nobody. Yeah, damn it! I'm 95 years old. You can't force me to freaking travel across.
I guess. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I hope so. I hope so. Yeah. I love that guy. Absolutely. I've met him quite a few times.
Yeah, I gotta find the picture. There's a picture somewhere in our stash of Jill dressed as Voodoo sitting on Stan's lap in like 1995 or something like that. I gotta find that.
You know, I have a picture of me with him, but I'm wearing this is anger. Like it annoys me. I have we both Stan and I both have red eye from the picture. And I'm wearing and I was at my heaviest. I was 300 pounds. This is like 2009, 10. Yeah, about 2009. So I'm like 300 pounds. And you know, I'm wearing a big yellow shirt of the cheapest quality that says Sinestro was right. And I'm shaking hands with Stanley, and I look at that picture. I'm like, I'm so heavy. My eyes are lit up with red eye, and I'm shaking hands with Stanley. This was in Toronto. Somebody took a picture of us in Toronto. We were just having a little chat in the in a hotel lobby. Me and Stan. Like this dude came over and said, "Hey, Ethan, Stanley wants to meet you." And I was like, "Why? He does not." And went over to talk to Stanley. He didn't want to meet me. The guy who was, guy wanted to introduce me to Stanley. Hey, this is Ethan Van Sciver. He's, Green Lantern. Green Lantern. Marty Nodell and it. Hey, Green Lantern, how you doing? So I chatted with him for a little while. That was the first time I met Stanley, and got a picture taken with him. But it's not a picture that I like to look at. Maybe I'll look at it again. See if I like the super fat picture of me with Stanley. I guess it's I don't know. But a couple more times. I met him a few more times after that. I had some one-on-one time with him, and I'm glad. I'm glad this industry has been, getting to work in comics and all of the benefits of working in comics, are not lost on me. I'm grateful for them. And I'm grateful that I got to know Stanley, got to meet him, got to hang out with him. And I guess now those that's it. That's the time that we got. Yeah.
I wish I had.
What do you mean you didn't?
No, I wish I had. No, I never had the chance.
You never had the chance to meet Stanley?
No. Unless I wanted to go stand in a line like everybody else,
Well, yeah. You don't want to stand in a line?
Well,
no, you don't stand in a line. You get introduced like in between, in between, him sitting down and then other, that kind of a thing. But yeah.
I never
had. Oh, guys. Yeah. So I'm gonna. I've got my comic rack behind me. It is filled. It's filled with my favorite thing that Stan Lee created. Well, other than the Hulk. What's your favorite Stan Lee creation, guys?
Captain America.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I like Captain America, but that's everybody's favorite. It will take me a while to think about somebody.
Wasn't that Joe Simon and Jack Kirby?
Yeah. Well, and Stan Lee too. Stan Lee created Captain America, didn't he? Yeah.
Because I would change it to the Hulk then, because the Hulk is my second favorite.
He didn't create Cap. People are saying he didn't create Cap.
Or just he wrote it. No, it was Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. But my favorite's Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it would have to be the Hulk for me then, because he's my second favorite Marvel character. So.
Yeah, Fantastic Four is it for me. Those books are going to be expensive now. I'm working on going backwards. I'm working on collecting the first 40 issues of the Fantastic Four, and I've got 14 through 40 in mint condition. I mean, I only buy them if they're like beautiful, perfect, minty, fresh condition. So buying one, it's like an investment. You just go, okay, I'm going to actually go ahead and pull the trigger on another copy, another book. because I cherish them, I treasure them, and they're on the rack behind me. Man, I got to get issue 13. I think I have 8, 10, and then 14 all the way through through 40. And I was going to buy a copy of number 2, and someone sniped it out from under me.
Mm.
That was stupid. I should have been on that. Fantastic Four number 2, the weirdest cover I've ever seen on a comic book.
Right.
But yeah, those books are going to be crazy expensive now.
Well, I did like the Silver Surfer, and Spider-Man.
Yeah, I like the Silver Surfer too. Should we do that? Should I turn on the camera? Let me put on a hat. My hair's a mess. I feel like a mess. I feel awful today over this. I do have hair. Hold on a second. All right, let me turn on the camera.
Special drawn and quartered.
I honestly can't
Marvel
say.
characters.
I don't think I've ever seen you without a hat on stream.
Really?
I don't think so. I can't remember. I mean, I am kind of shocked to know that you have hair.
There I am. No, I have some hair. It's just thinning in the front, and that's the way it goes. Okay, I'm gonna put on a hat.
Yeah. That's actually a good idea, Curtis. What do you think? Should I change Drawn and Quartered this week from Star Wars to Stan Lee Creations?
Sure. Yeah. I think that would be fun.
It's a good tribute.
Yeah.
What is this light here? Oh, this is this. Okay, let me turn that off so I'm not blinding the world. Behind me, my Fantastic Fours. Let me. I'll focus on me. Yeah, I've been collecting them for a little while and only finding the best copies I can. Really investing some money in it. Like each one of these I think is several hundred or a couple $1,000s an issue. And I told Andrea that. I said, if I die in a car crash or something real quick, and you have to sell everything, just make sure that you understand. My comic books are expensive. Don't let anyone swindle you. I should actually let you know what I paid for them. But maybe I shouldn't,
Because then you'll be dead and she'll have to sell them.
Yeah. Are they insured? No, they're not insured. And by the way, it's not like I treat them all that well. They're on that rack. They're there because they're beautiful, let me get this out of the way too.
Yeah, your daughter is gonna get to an age where she's gonna just be flipping through those.
She's shown no interest in them so far. She's allowed to run rampant down here. She destroys my Star Wars figures every day. I set up my little Star Wars figures, and she's allowed to just go through them and do whatever she wants. I don't even care. She can play with all the toys, on the Star Wars toys. But fortunately, she's shown no interest in the in the Fantastic Four or Spider-Man books. Let me see here. Let me turn this rack.
They need to release a really good Fantastic Four movie in honoring Stan Lee, like a really good one. None of that garbage they gave us.
Oh yeah. I would like a good Fantastic Four movie.
Hopefully they will now that Marvel has the rights back.
Yeah. I've got all the X-Men. I have all the Byrne and Cockrum X-Men.
That's all the Wendigo issue on top.
Yeah, you better believe it. And that is, again, those also are minty fresh. I went, okay, I'm going to collect comics again because I've always gotten comics for free, like new comics, so I don't collect those. And I still have crates. DC is still sending me, I'm on their comp list. It's driving me nuts. I have to politely ask them, it's okay, you don't have to send me this stuff. It was kind of nice for a little while, but I'm telling you, getting the comp boxes is, I don't know what to do with this stuff. I really don't know what to do with this. So I have crates and crates of DC books. Just give them, it's too heavy.
To a local children's hospital and give them to kids in the kids.
Oh, no, God, don't do that.
I'm not doing that to
kids.
These folks. Batman's penis. Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Well, if you give it to them, then it'll just make them appreciate life even more. It's like, oh my God, this book is killing me.
Yeah. Giveaway prizes. Well, people could come over. I just give them a crate of books, and that's always what happens. If anyone comes over, and they do, this happens a lot. We have like people coming over to preschool teachers for Ava. And this dude's just like, I came upstairs and there were like 3 educators on the floor, like teaching Ava her ABCs and stuff. And there's this big dude. And I was like, this guy looks like a comic book fan. I could tell. And he goes, oh my God. And Andrea had told him who I was. And he was just like, oh my gosh, I'm such a fan of comics. It's nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, hello. it's weird to have a comic book fan like in your house that you weren't expecting. And I just sent him home with boxes and boxes of comics. That is, you know, oh, good. Yeah. Take this stuff out of here, you know, good. But this stuff here is, you know, obviously I was like, I'm going to get some really high end stuff, the stuff that I really cherish. And as a kid, so Fantastic Four, when my dad gave me that Amazing Spider-Man number 17, that blew my mind. That changed my world. You know, that set me on my path. And that comic, I mean, I used to just smell that comic book. That was a big thing for me. I would just sit there and be like, it smells like an old attic. There's something about it. It's like, this is old. Dad, this comic book came out in 1962 or 1963. That's so old. Meanwhile, it's like 1990 or 1987. It wasn't that long ago for him. You know, I just started caring about this stuff an awful lot. You know, the Fantastic Four was the next thing. He gave me this one right here, Fantastic Four number 30 with Diablo. And Human Torch is walking around in Diablo's castle, and he's talking about, hey, it looks like Dracula lives here. And he made a reference to, oh my gosh, who's the actress with Jane? Who's the actress with huge breasts from the 1960s? Jane Mansfield. He's like he talks about how hot Jane Mansfield is in that book. It's like it's such a dated reference. He's a teenager and he's dreaming about Jane Mansfield. God, it's a great issue.
He's the one that was decapitated.
That was Stan Lee. Stan Lee made that Jane Mansfield joke through Johnny Storm's mouth.
No, saying she was decapitated in a car accident.
Allegedly. We don't know that that was actually true. That might be kind of rumor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's a whole other thing. That's a way to go. Car accident, decapitated. I think that's the way Grace Kelly died too, by the way. Almost same exact death, yeah.
Somebody in my family that happened to.
Yeah. I don't want to be decapitated.
Oh, jeez.
I don't want to be decapitated. Do you?
I know we're talking about the memory of a dead man here, but now the stream is getting morbid.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going off in different directions here, in different tangents. You're absolutely right. Yeah, sorry about that. Welcome to Comic Artist Pro Secrets, by the way. That's kind of that's par for the course around here. Oh my God! So,
we talk about decapitation.
We do if it just comes to mind. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's how it goes around here. I'm gonna miss him.
Remember Jane Mansfield for?
Well, I want to know what the looks at. Ethan's neck is so thick. I don't think there's much room or risk of that. I know getting through my neck would be tough. It'd be tough. It would. Can you imagine? Like it would take one of those big. I don't want to give people ideas of how to cut my head off. I don't want to.
Ethan got skin like Killer Croc.
Yeah. Well, it's it's a lot. There's a lot of neck there. Fortunately, there is neck though. That's bad when you don't have a neck. That happens to some fat guys. Hasn't happened to me, and it's not going to happen to me.
No, I know somebody who doesn't have a neck at all. He was born that way.
Who?
This guy that my wife, when my wife worked at, the guy, he was really a nice guy. He just didn't have a neck, and he couldn't find a girlfriend or get, by to talk. They found it strange. He didn't have a neck.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Who wants to reproduce with that?
Mike.
Well, I'm just saying. Your kids don't have a neck? Come on.
So I've got these comics here. I've got crates of comics here. I didn't mean to have. Let's stay on topic. This is a memorial for Stan Lee and what he means to us. I've got 7 long boxes. Actually, I think they're short boxes of comics that I've collected. And they're all like most of them are Marvels. I don't. The weird thing is I don't have too much use for old DC comics. I don't know why that is. I was never a fan. I was never a fan of old DC comics.
Funny, neither was I, and I spent most of my career working at DC.
Yeah. I didn't want to draw Marvel. I wanted to read Marvel, and I didn't want to read DC. I wanted to draw DC. I don't know why that is, but that is the case. Like I'm like, no, I'm Marvel. I want Marvel to be something that I actually read, and I was uncomfortable working there when I worked for Marvel. I only did 6 or 7 books for Marvel Comics in my entire career. Was
Oh, really?
never comfortable there. Yeah. How about you? Did you do any?
Yeah, I
You
was
did quite
I was at the X office for several years. Did a lot of X-Man, Wolverine, Mutant X, X Factor. I did a lot of the second tier X books, X Force, X Factor, all. And then yeah, that's most of the stuff I did there was at the X office. So.
Yeah. For me too, the X Office. It was Mike Martz and
Oh, I
and
was
them.
before. I was Mark Powers and Jason Lee Big. That was
Oh,
before Quesada took over.
yeah, Mark Powers. Mm-hmm. Uh,
Mhm.
I got the Mark Powers story that I tell in the Marvel Comics days. X-Men was a wild and woolly place to work, I'll tell you. Yeah.
You took over after Frank Quitely, right?
During, like right at the start of Frank Quitely, we worked hand in hand, kind of side by side there. Like I did the 4th issue of his run, and it was strange. It was really strange and uncomfortable. And like I said, uncomfortable. I'm glad I'm not there.
Well, I think the problem is because obviously you ended up doing the 4th issue of his run.
Mm-hmm.
3 issues is not a run.
Well, he did more. I mean, he did more, but it's like
no. But my point is, like at DC, I mean, up until recently, dude, DC was always 6 months ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Marvel was like flying by the seat of your pants. I finished books at Marvel, and they were on the freaking shelf in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's Marvel. Whereas DC is like, make sure you get this story arc done before we solicit it. And it's like, the story arc 6 issues long. And they're like, yeah, well. I mean, how far ahead were you generally doing Green Lantern?
Oh, far ahead. Always far ahead. Like, at least 3 months out,
Right.
Very rarely was a book solicited that wasn't finished.
Yeah,
very rarely. It did happen, but,
That's why the Marvel style exists, because they just didn't have time to write the books.
Yeah, that is true too. That's true. Everything's flying by the seat of your pants over there. But I don't know, guys. I hope he's at peace. I'm glad Stan Lee's at peace.
Yeah. He lived a full life though. 95 years is a long time.
Man.
He saw the entire comic book, like he saw it all. He worked in comics from the very start. They're talking about his career beginning in 1939. It didn't go back. What was the first comic book created in 1934 or 1933, 34? Superman didn't come around till 37. I mean, Stan Lee watched the whole thing go down.
1933.
33 was more fun. Was it? No, it was what was the name of the first comic book?
Famous Funnies.
Famous Funnies, yeah. And it was just newspaper strips, like cartoon strips.
Oh yeah.
That are I take the camera off myself. I get self-conscious. It was just newspaper strips reprinted and pulped and put together into a great big book. I have the very first Donald Duck comic from 1934. It's huge, dude. It's gigantic. But yeah, so Stan Lee saw it all. One thing that I always I was disappointed about with my time with Stan Lee is that I'm a big Jack Cole fan. I love Plastic Man, and somebody told me that Stan Lee knew Jack Cole really well. Will Eisner told me that. Will Eisner told me, if you want to know anything about Jack Cole, ask Stan Lee. Man, I met the giants. I really did meet all the big names in comics over my career, guys who are no longer with us anymore. And when I finally got to sit down with Stan Lee and talk to him, he had zero memories of Jack Cole. And I realized that Will Eisner probably had way more memories of Jack Cole than Stan Lee would. I think, Jack and Will worked on the same book together, the same studio for a long time. So I never learned anything. I wanted to know what kind of a guy Jack Cole was, what it was like to hang out with Jack Cole, because I really felt close to him. He was Christian, Mike, he was a good boy. You know what I mean? Mischief. He's kind of a mischievous guy like you are. And
Plastic Man is the repentant hero.
Yeah. Think about that. Like he was a mobster who found God. and that's why he became a superhero. You know, the monks took him into their little abode to heal up, and he had a coming to Jesus moment, and literally that's why he became a hero and renounced his evil ways. But yeah, so I just wanted to know. I wanted to know what he was like, and Stanley was unable to tell me.
Honestly, that's one of my favorite characters to draw. And it's not that I love his costume or anything, but I just love being able to do anything with him. You know, it's like Gumby or something.
Yeah. Plastic Man is my favorite. He is my favorite DC character. You know, Paul Ulecci says, and now Gail Simone is sodomizing Plastic Man. Oh boy. Oh, you know, what are you gonna do? We got 2,000 people watching right now. You know, people who I hope are watching because they miss Stan Lee too. I think it's impossible to being into comics in any capacity, no matter how big of a fan you are, or if you're just even a mild enthusiast. You know who Stan Lee is, and you know what he means to comics, and you've seen him appear. At the very least, you've seen him appear in all the Marvel movies that everybody's seen, and you must be feeling the kind of loss that the comic book industry is feeling today.
Yeah, Stan Lee, I say it all the freaking time. Stan Lee was the only famous man in comics. Well, only famous comic creator. You know, I mean, you could go ask a normie who created Superman, and they would probably say Stan Lee, because he was so good at marketing himself. And
do you think people think Stan Lee created everything? Like, do you think people could name the creator of Superman or Batman, supposedly?
No, not unless they have some education in comics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
how about
not a normal person.
No.
Someone like my wife, she probably couldn't tell you who created Superman.
Right.
It would be the go-to. He's the go-to. People don't even know who Jack Kirby is. Normies.
Right.
They don't. It's sad, but Stan fills that vacuum as the creator of all comics.
Right.
You know.
Didn't Stan Lee do his own version of Superman?
Oh yeah, he did. I was just thinking, in the early 2000s, DC Comics did Stan Lee creates the DC universe. It was largely excrement, but it was interesting to see. You can't reverse engineer those characters. It's like, Stan Lee, here's the name Batman. What would you do? And by the way, that's not even what Stan Lee did, really. Like, Stan Lee came up with the name and synopsis of the character, and then artists took it from there. It was an interesting experiment. People were excited to see it, but it, of course, I don't think it meant anything when it actually came out.
Right.
Stan Lee working for DC, People liked it. People were like, kick. Iwazaru says, kick Ethan. You liked it? Did you like Stan Lee creates the DC universe? I don't know. Did you like it, Mike? I remember Aquaman being made of water.
No.
A Batman being very literally a man dressed literally like a bat.
I think the only one I remember was the Catwoman one with Chris Bachalo on the art.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I know Jim Lee redesigned Wonder Woman, but I never heard that one.
Stan Lee created Ethan Van Sciver, says Sierra Whiskey. That's almost true. My parents with a co-credit from Stan Lee.
Executive producer.
Yeah, he warped my imagination. He got me into comics, like, man, big time.
Yeah, he's shaped our world. He has shaped our world.
And when I think about Stan Lee too, I think more about the art than the writing. For some reason, I think about Stan Lee and I think about the big chunky inks of Chick Stone over Jack Kirby. I just think about that beautiful coloring book art. It was always so funny. The warm family values of Fantastic Four. By the way, in Fantastic Four, Sue would always get a little uppity, and then she'd get a spanking from the men. And that is something that I think society is missing now. Women being spanked. They used to do that in the 50s, 40s, 50s, and even the 60s. Like, you would see it in the movies. Like, if your wife got out of hand, you'd be like, that's it, bend over. And then you would the husband would spank her until she cried.
I'm sorry.
And that was it. That's true. They used to do that. It was in Fantastic Four a couple times. Like, Ben Grimm. Man, there's a really uncomfortable panel in Fantastic Four where, I don't know, Sue's running around invisible, and Ben grabs Sue, She's invisible, and he's about to give her a whack. He's like, "Tell me when, Reed," or something like that. And she's bent over his lap. I'm like, that's really uncomfortable. That's his wife, soon to be wife. What do you mean? Tell me when? You're cucking Reed Richards, Ben. Put her down. You're gonna spank Sue. Yeah, it does seem weird in retrospect. You're exactly right, Simple Green. All right, let me read some super chats. I get to collect my thoughts. What do you think, Mike?
I don't know. I haven't heard the super chats yet.
No, I mean about everything in general.
The spanking?
Yeah, about spanking. Like, what are your thoughts about spanking, Mike?
Well, I have never spanked my wife in punishment.
I like the qualifier at the end there.
Yeah. All right, let's see. DJD Show says, rest in peace, Stanley. Bless you all. Peter Armstrong says, devastated. 95 and it still feels too soon. Mark C says, Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers said it best. The world is a better place because Stan was in it. Oh, that's true, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Darth Gavel, Excelsior Stanley. NAP Misfit says, a true force of creativity, escapism, and capitalism. Rest in peace, Stan. He started this gangsta shit. Dayton Pfeiffer, the man, the myth, the legend, will live on through his fans. Vash the Ashtray says, my childhood wouldn't have been the same if it weren't for Stan. Characters like Spider-Man made me want to strive to become a better, more responsible person. His work helped me a lot to overcome difficult times in my life. Yeah, there's so much to that. I'm gonna talk more about that. Thanks for that, Vash, because it puts me in a new direction. Sven Sandstrom says, I'm crying. Enough said, Stanley. We will miss you. That's what his tombstone should say. Enough said, It's like, oh, God. Yanni Huel says, fix this now. Rest in peace, Stanley. Phil Devereaux says he started this gangsta shit. Zach Berger says, one of my favorite Stan Lee stories is when he ran a Spider-Man book without approval of the Comics Code when they had a strict no mention of drugs policy. They changed that immediately after the book came out. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Gojirify says, Fantastic Four late 90s through 120 were my first back issues. So you caught the end of the Stan Lee Kirby run. Fell in love with Marvel after that. Mr. Reborn says, hey, Mike, I worked on 4 of your strips today. How do you feel about that, Mike?
Oh. 4 of my strips. Well, that's probably not a conversation for here.
Michael McLaughlin says, brings a tear to my eye hearing how your dad told you about Stan Lee. I wonder how many parents bonded with their kids over comic books and superheroes. That was one thing my dad and I always had in common. And we always had that to talk about, I remember my dad coming home with my dad be like, have you heard of this guy, Peter David? Have you heard of this guy? And I'm like, Peter David, yeah. He's like, have you heard of this guy, Dale Keown? I was like, no. And he's like, look at this. And he had a copy of Peter David and Dale Keown's Hulk. So that dates, when this happened, kind of. My dad on his bed, in his room with cracks on the walls, showing me, this comic book with, Peter David. He's like, this guy's so funny. Peter David's so funny. He's cracking me up. Look at this. Like, he gets introduced to this big giant guy, like a big giant, monster from space, like kind of a Galactus type of villain. And the villain says his name. And then the Hulk says, walks up to him. It's the Smart Hulk, because as Peter David goes, is that with 2 R's or 1 R? And I remember my dad thinking that was so funny. And I was like, Dad, Peter David. All right. Sketch Therapy says, I thought I was the only one that was angry. Anger is a normal stage of mourning, and elder abuse happens all the time. We should be allowed to mourn the things they bury. Is not a process. Not everyone celebrates burials. I'm going to get over the anger, because I am angry at the last year of Stan Lee's life and the way he was treated, and I had to get that out a little bit. Part of me just wants to say, damn you. You know what I mean? Like, damn you all for all of what you guys put him through. It was unnecessary. It was cruel. Lord Blackwind says, Stan was the architect of all this. We have to keep this industry going to honor him. Darth Gavel says, is there going to be a vigil at his house? Well, I don't know. We're not invited, I'm sure. Nicholas Glenn says, I remember the story of him saying, line them up and give me a machine gun. LOL. Yeah. I told that story. I'll tell it again, I guess, because it's kind of funny. I was just like, Stan, he's like, I don't want to sign it. He was grumpy about having to sign this big stack of books. And, I said, he's like, I don't want. He's like, they're just gonna sell these after I die. And I said, no, they're gonna treasure these, Stan. These are your fans. You know. He's like, my fans. They're not my fans. They're nobody's fans. Line them up and give me a Tommy gun. He said. Go Jurify. I laughed just so hard at hearing Stan Lee, and he said it in his Stan Lee voice. It was so funny. Go Jurify says he made us a part of Marvel Comics with his soapboxes, nicknames, self-deprecating humor, and the fun in every issue. Made it like we were friends in a club. Love that. Love this man. Peter Armstrong, I feel angry for how he was treated too. Nicholas Glenn, I had to buy 2 signed books off eBay today, even though I'm against doing that since I will never meet him now. Liam says those old 60s cartoons are the best. And the first episode with Loki, he's running for his life, but he can't help but go out of his way to push random people in front of a train. It's hilarious. Stanley rocked. Mark C says 1998 Wizard World Chicago. I was in the lobby of the Hyatt sitting with 25 other fans. Stan sat in a chair, told the stories of the biz holding court. Great memory. Wow, you're lucky. What a great thing. I mean, totally awesome. Totally awesome. GRP Poll says Mike Miller scares me, talks about Stan Lee dying, and then he does so hours later. Mike knows the future. Mike, do you have a comment about that? I mean, did you know? I mean,
I'll never tell. No.
Yeah, it's Drew Turnbull says never been a big Fantastic Four fan, but not gonna lie, most of my favorite Marvel villains come from that series. Nicholas, yeah, man.
Oh yeah, he was the best of villains, man.
Annihilus. You know, it's like what an amazing name, Annihilus. That's where Atrocitus came from. It's the same kind of thing, you know. It's just like, God, Stanley was so awesome.
Yeah, those are good names.
Yeah, I love that video where he and Todd McFarlane create Overkill.
Yeah.
And it's the name. It's like, I've always wanted a villain called Overkill. And it's like,
yeah.
And then McFarlane designs it and changes it to Overt Kill so he doesn't have to.
Yeah, so he doesn't. Yeah, it's not Stan's name. Very, very tricky. Overt Kill, you know. Yeah, that's brilliant. Nicholas Glenn says EVS's microphone looks like a giant dildo. LOL. That's nice. Does it? I guess it does. Yeah, all microphones do. Timbertone says for everyone who cherishes Stan Lee, you might want to check out his last comic that is free online at Webtoons called Back Channel, art by Andy Tong. Paragon 117 2000 says, "Hey, will any of you be going to the memorial?" No, I don't. It's probably in California. Mike could probably go. I wouldn't. I don't know anything about it, and it might just be for family. But you know, I will be memorializing him in my home by reading some old comics and thinking about what he meant to me. And that's, you know, again, I'm sharing it, but all these feelings that you guys feel are intensely personal. They're all about your own. Nobody got into comics that doesn't love Stan Lee. You know, I mean, nobody got into comics. Man, I hope this is true. This might not be true considering where comics are now, but nobody got into comics that doesn't have a deep, abiding love and respect for this man and everything that he did. And so those memories and those feelings are, you know, I guess you can have your own memorial, your own vigil. You know, you just think about what he did and who he was and all that stuff. Jameson, creator of Conflict, his voice was so familiar that seeing him in Mallrats telling a sad story just shot me back in time. In the end, Kevin Smith was a friend. Excelsior. Yeah, cheers to Kevin Smith, who saw what was going on and actually did say, Stan Lee, come live in my home. I will protect you. And it's like, it gives me goosebumps. You know, it's like, yeah, you know, you ever feel that way? You're just watching somebody and you're like, and you love them so much and you know they're being abused and you're just like, come live with me. Let me take you in. I feel that way about Mike most of the time. You know, I see Mike being abused by everyone, and I'm just like, come over to stay in my house. But you know, he doesn't come. He just continues in the same cycle of abuse. James Dean, creator of Conflict, believe it or not, you were the first guy in comics since Stan that I think has become a fan favorite for a familiar voice. Long live All Caps Comics. $5 message retracted. Okay. Paul Dozier says, I'm so gutted at Stan's passing. He inspired every day of my life since I was 5 years old. Excelsior. Loki7 says, as soon as I heard the news, I immediately thought there could only be one EVS. Wow. Gojirify says, Mike, you can dance with my wife, but only I get to spank her. Coach Urify says, "Damn, the parasites and leeches that denied him peace in his last years." Yeah. Everett Todd, the MCU Avengers should be his pallbearers. Oh, can you imagine?
Hmm.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Chuck Reardon, little known secret, Excelsior was the name of his Tommy gun. Yeah, little known secret, Excelsior was the name of his Tommy gun. Jeremy Joestar says, "Did you guys see there are already people calling Stanley a racist, misogynist, and shit? Man, I hate these kinds of people. Besides, Stanley will always be the man."
Yes. Would you imagine that? You know,
Are you
Stanley.
kidding?
That's what this guy's saying. I haven't seen it.
I wouldn't doubt it. Those people have no hearts.
Would you imagine Stan Lee standing before a group of fans and saying "Excelsior," and then a Tommy gun would appear and he just starts shooting?
I think it was just an expression of his frustration. You know, it's like I'm sitting here signing a bunch of comics, and I mean, you guys, stacks and stacks and stacks of comics for people, and they would sit him in a chair in a back room. You know, you could not only would he have to sit there and sign comics for fans who were waiting in line for him, and the lines were crazy. Then they also had like send in opportunities, so people could say, "I'm not going to be there, but here's 20 books for him to sign, and here's a check." And so he would have to go into the back room and do all of those signings. And boy, was he grumpy about it.
Well, that's slavery right there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but at this last, not this one, but the one before, LA Comic Con, somebody saw him. They were actually like, they had somebody like lifting his arm and just putting new comics under it. Like it was so much effort for him. He was just like,
yeah. Yep. Yeah. I saw, you know, when you see that and you're still going to wait in line.
Yeah.
For him,
yeah. You're right.
You know, it's and then you see that he's got these slimy kind of LA types around him that are stealing his blood. I just said, I don't even know if he's like, I don't know if Stan is willing to do this. I don't know that Stanley is actually willing to, I don't know if he's here voluntarily. So, you know, like I told my fans and my subscribers, do not go. Like, have a heart. If you want Stanley's autograph, buy it secondhand off of eBay. There's no shortage of Stanley's autograph on eBay. Let me look. Let me double check that and make sure I'm right.
There's a whole bunch of. I did a Google search earlier, and this all over the place. You find a Stanley autograph.
He did so many autographs. There's no reason to make him do more autographs. I'm sure there are plenty available on the secondary market, and I don't blame you for wanting his autograph. You should absolutely want his autograph. But, you know, I was saying, don't ask him for it. Yeah, look at, you know, everywhere here. Running about $150 for Stanley's autograph, roughly. So just buy it secondhand. Yeah, here's an Amazing Fantasy number 15 reprint signed by Stan Lee for $300. That's nice. I don't like it when people get their vintage comics signed, though. Here's Fantastic Four number 18 signed by Stan Lee, Dick Ayers, and Joe Sinnott, $775, 4.0. I have that book, though. I already have it. It's the first appearance of the Super Skrull. This is one of my favorite. I love all the Fantastic Four villains, but man, Super Skrull is one of those villains that I want to draw.
You know, I think that's the thing about why Marvel is, I think, so much better, is because Stan was so great at villains, and a hero is defined by its villain. The only hero I didn't like in Marvel because his rogues gallery sucked was Iron Man.
Yeah,
never seen any of Iron Man's villains, but especially the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four had just the best freaking rogues gallery. It was like,
yeah, I always loved the Fantastic Four. I always thought they were, you know, really great. Fantastic Four, but Spider-Man's rogues gallery was the best, though. I mean, honestly, wasn't it? Or what do you think?
It was great.
I think all of his energy went there. Yeah.
I don't know, but I think freaking like Doom is like one of the best villains ever to me.
I like comics with rogue galleries. You know, it's awesome. You see all the variety of characters of villains.
I'm looking up the video I did with Stan.
X-Men has a pretty good rogues gallery, I think.
Oh yeah. All right, so hold on. I'm gonna show the video that I made with Stan Lee. God damn it! I'm really blue.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like you like it's like Stan Lee's gone. You know, I knew it was coming. I didn't know it was going to happen today. Obviously, Mike did. I had no idea it was going to happen today, and I wasn't. I don't feel like I was ready for it. I feel like it hit me like a punch that I wasn't looking for. All right, I'm going to show this video. What I'll do is I'll play the audio separately, so it might not be synced up perfectly because I'm going to play my audio on the audio on an iPad, and the video I will just show you here. This is an old video when I first started. I first started Comic Artist Pro Secrets, so it does look different. But here it is. Okay, let me turn up the volume here. Hold on. Now I gotta pause it and set it back. All right. I hope this is okay, guys. I'll just play the beginning part here, but okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Terrible pop.
Do you want some pumpkins? Then you came to the right place. We're on a hayride at Johnson's Farm in New Jersey. There's Ava and Andrea. We're gonna go get some pumpkins, so come with us. I used to really make videos.
Yeah, like highly produced.
Yeah. Little Ava. What the hell is this Hitchcock thing? I haven't seen this video since I made it.
Baby, what's wrong?
I feel like I have to go home and draw some Spider-Man villains, but I don't know which ones. I'd like him to be Stan Lee's favorite, but I don't know which ones are his favorite.
Maybe you should just ask him.
That's a great idea. Let's go. Great acting. Hey, Stan, out of all the Spider-Man villains that you created, do you have a favorite?
No, they're villains. I don't like villains. You're not supposed to have a favorite villain. You're not supposed to like villains. They're dead people. Shame on them, each and every one.
Which is the worst of the worst?
Well, none of them are the worst. I was such a good writer that I made them all wonderful.
No.
You could say which was the best of the best, which I have no idea what the answer would be anyway. I kind of like the Green Goblin because I like the sound of the name, the Green Goblin.
He's my favorite too.
Of course, I like the Lizards. I like poor old Vulture. He was older than I was. That's what made me happy with him. The only character older than me. Well, I don't even remember who his other villains were.
Scorpion. Remember him?
Scorpion, wonderful.
Yeah. Good times. Green Goblin. The Lizard. Vulture. I am an actor. Scorpion. Those are good characters, guys. Those are really good characters. We got to do this. We got to do this for Stan Lee. And here are our tools. All right, so this is me speed drawing through. Let me just fast forward this. Do you remember? I drew Stan Lee's one of the first comics that my dad. All right, so I don't know if that's interesting or not. Oh, here's me singing like Gunther. All right, let's stop that right now. Oh my God, man!
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
I gave myself a thin, ugly, thin mustache with a magic marker, and decided I wanted to. Boy, I really used to put effort into my videos. Here's Freddy Krueger, doing a little promo for me. Yeah. Why don't I do that anymore? My videos suck now compared to the way they used to be.
Yeah, that's possible for Halloween as an intro for your videos.
I'm not playing it. You guys can go find this video if you want to watch me singing that song, and then watch me draw Stan Lee's villains. They're there as well. But that was really nice. I'm glad that I made that video.
Yeah.
of Stan
You
Lee.
do all your own editing?
Yeah. I really took it very seriously when I first started doing videos. I'd be like, "Honey, I got to make my video today," and I didn't usually show Andrea. Somebody said you're a lazy fuck now. Well, yeah, but I would show Andrea. Andrea would be in the videos. Ava would be in the videos a little bit too. But since then, since the channel kind of blew up, and it blew up, they obviously were pushing that kind of a thing back for the sake of privacy. But yeah, you can go back and watch those videos. I would just get crazy ideas and then just go with it. So that video is called EVS Draws for Stan Lee and shows you how. So if you just look up EVS Draws for Stan Lee, you can watch it, and I hope you enjoy it. More non sequitur film editing, EVS. Yeah. Comic Book Guy says they do suck. You've gotten worse and worse about secret commentaries. I'm getting back to it though. I'm getting back to it, guys. Actually talking about my own books, Mike. Do you do that? Have you tried to make videos like that yet?
Like what? Like
well, the
produced?
commentary. No, just just like normal. All right, so you go through. I thought early on what I wanted to do with my channel, and I got them all. I mean, I think I'm missing about 8 books, but I said I'm going to do secret commentaries. So it's Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I'm going to do secret commentary tracks of every single comic book I've ever drawn.
Oh my God.
I'll tell all the memories, any hidden secret information. That was the whole purpose of this channel early on, was just to create an archive of my memories of each issue of every book that I've done.
That explains the name.
Yeah, and I did most of them. People are like, "Well, you stopped doing that." That's because I ran through my whole career, I think, except for like the last few issues of Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, and now maybe I'll do that now. I think earlier this year, when things were kind of raw at DC, when I was getting beaten up by SJWs, I didn't want to talk about my own work anymore. I had other more pressing concerns. So I stopped doing the secret commentaries. I'll go back and I'll do the last few issues of my Hal Jordan run and tell you all the insider stuff and how I was feeling about those books and why they suck. All that stuff. I mean, that seems like something that I could do.
I did a handful of videos like that on my Injustice stuff, but not too much.
Yeah, people might want to know it. If you just sat down and said, "Hey, this is the first comic book I ever did." And that, that is one of the most important videos that I think I made, where it's just like breaking into comics. This is my first issue of Cyberfrog, and here's how I broke in, and what it was like to be 19. Back when EVS was full emo goth, says DJ D Show. Yeah. That was a year ago. But yeah, I know. Everyone's talking about, you want more comic book stuff. What was the Stan Lee story that you said you would tell us after he passed? I told it already. It's the machine gun story. I was like, I can't tell that story. I can't tell you. And then I just went, all right, I'll tell you. I guess it's not so bad. And Stan Lee wanting to machine gun whoever was making him sign all of those comic books, and I don't blame him. Absolutely, I don't blame him at all. You started laughing at Tico toys and taking down SJW Soy Wars. Yeah. Hugh Hoyland says, Ethan, why don't you go goth now? I don't know. Oh my God, Donald's in here. Donald DeLay, how are you?
Really? Now you notice?
I did. You got to talk.
I have been talking.
That's I didn't even realize that. I'm so sorry, Donald.
Talking. I made some jokes. You laughed at them.
Yeah.
I thought you were Mike.
Yeah, we sound so much fun.
I was like, Mike is very funny today. No, it's Donald. My mistake. Yeah. What are your memories of Stan Lee, Donald? Did you ever get to meet him?
No, unfortunately, I didn't. I don't really have any memories of him because I've never met him. Just the only one I can think of was like the first time I ever really heard Stan Lee talk or be his personality was on those videos, like the one you were talking about, where he was co-creating Overkill character.
That was fun, man. Those videos were cool.
Yeah, that was like the first time I ever truly heard or saw him as the character.
Hmm.
Otherwise, before then, it was always just a picture of his face or drawing.
Yeah. That's very
His
interesting,
words.
Mike. What do you think about it, Donald? Oh, that was Donald. Oh my God, Donald. What are we gonna do?
This is
What are
how
we gonna do
important I
now?
am.
Yeah. Well, you're very important. What are we gonna do? What is this comic book industry gonna be without Stan Lee?
That's what we. That's where we come in. You know,
Sad, man. It's gonna be sad.
we gotta come and carry up that flag, that flagpole, and just keep going with it.
Just keep creating characters and
Hmm.
pushing his legacy forward
Right.
that way.
Yeah, I mean, so much of how I felt, this past year has been like, hey, this is. I feel like this is the 1950s in comics right now. I've said that a few times. It feels really regressive and repressive, and that is the time when somebody like Stan Lee can come in and really make a difference. And I love Comicsgate. I love what Comicsgate is about. I think that there's a real opportunity to make a difference. Comicsgate is just people standing up against all of this nonsense. Like Stan Lee being called sexist and racist, 3
Right.
seconds after he dies by these people. These are people that are in the industry that are, implementing change and stuff.
They're
Mike,
probably glad. They're probably all happy.
Yeah. How do we destroy them, Mike? Is there a way?
Yeah. We go back to Stan Lee's roots. I always say that Stan Lee's biggest mistake was creating the X-Men, because prior to that, he would come up with these ideas. Like when he tells a story about creating Spider-Man because he saw a fly on the wall, right? And he's like, what if you had a character that could climb walls, right? And then he ended up with Spider-Man. And then you have a character like the Hulk, which he based on Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
And Iron Man. So you had all these characters created through a process of discovering a power or discovering, an origin, finding a way to create an origin, and they're all these great, unique characters. And I always say that's why you could start the Marvel Universe with a Spider-Man and an Iron Man and a Hulk and Captain America. But then when you got to the X-Men, and Stan was the one who said this, which set me off. He's like, oh, I don't even have to come up with origins anymore. They're just born with it. I'm like, no! That's why they're not interesting, right?
Yeah,
None of the X-Men can stand alone, except for Wolverine. And the reason Wolverine was interesting is because we didn't know his origin. So all the other X-Men, they have to be part of this team to exist, or this entity. But all those other individual Avengers and all the other characters, or the Fantastic Four as a group, that's what I want in my universe, in Blacklist universe. I don't have anything like mutants ever. Everyone has to have a great, unique origin story, because that's the pre-X-Men Stan Lee methodology to me was just brilliant. Right. And that's what we start at ground zero again, right? Freaking Atlas Comics, Timely Comics, first Marvel Comics stuff, that kind of ground zero, and we build the future.
Exactly what I think a flat scan would say. This anti-mutant hate needs to stop, Mike.
Welcome,
My
John
daughter
Malin.
wants to show me her Houdini dress.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. Great to see you, John. How you feeling? How you feeling right now?
I mean, it's really a downer that Stan Lee has passed. But I look at it that he's had a full life. He's done very well for himself, and he's a legend. And we all saw it coming, for a long time. But I'm sure he'll find peace. And I mean, there's a whole drama about to unfold, I'm sure, with his estate. And I just hope the family and whatever parties are involved can resolve it, as decently as possible. So.
You know, I think is the most what I admire him for as a human being. He was married to the same woman for 69 years.
Yeah, he loved that woman.
Yeah,
He loved
just
it. Her
passed
name
away.
was Joan, right? Was her name Joan?
Yeah, yeah. She passed away less than a year and a half ago. And you know, when you're married to someone that long, it's almost always the other partner doesn't last that long. So
Yeah, usually they die right after. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? I want his sunglasses put in a museum. That just occurred to me. A stupid thought.
And his
that's
mustache.
It's kind of famous. What did you say? What did you say? His mustache?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Get his sunglasses, his famous tinted glasses, and put them in a museum. You
With
know.
his portrait.
And his V-neck sweater.
Yeah. Oh, poor Stan. Yeah, and they're back together again. That's kind of cool. I mean, the first thing I thought was Stan's back with Jack. No, he's back with his wife. He's back with his sweet Joan, who he stayed with for 69 years. Stoiberfrog points out that he's got the secret to a 69-year marriage, Mike, is to dance with your wife.
Is it okay to say that?
It is a
die. He retired.
I don't know. I don't think finally he's retired.
Yeah.
You know? Look at Mike. Every time Mike gets his balls busted about dancing with his wife, he gets mad. I can tell. Oh, it's true though. Well, you have to learn to dance, Mike.
I know how to dance. I don't have time to be a freaking.
Show us, Mike.
What did you say? Wait, hold on. I want you to imagine you're saying this to your wife. What you don't have time to do things that make your wife happy. Go ahead. Say it again. Your wife standing there. You're think about your wife. All right, God forbid. Okay, now think about your wife 69 years from now.
While we're talking about
your wife, no, your wife has just left you. Your wife is gone. She died. She died. And the last thing you remember when you think about her, you think about the joy on her face, the pride that she took in dancing, in her dancing classes and competitions, and then you think about what you said to her. I don't have time to dance with you. I don't have time. I'm very busy. You say I'm freaking busy. And 69 years from now, if your marriage lasts that long, because you're not dancing with her. So as someone points
you gotta remember the good time he had when he took her to Big Bear.
The chat's like, bloody hell, Ethan. I know, I'm giving it to him. You have to dance with your wife. Have to. You have to do it. Well, when you think, well, what, she just wanted to be happy and spend time with her husband and do what she enjoyed doing. I mean, she draws comics with you. Why won't you dance with her?
Draws comics with me.
Oh, okay. All right. They're like, he's going to cry. He's not going to cry. But it is serious, though. I will say this. You don't have time to not dance with your wife. That is absolutely correct. You don't have time. There's only so much time, and life doesn't go on forever. So you want to make sure that you have time spent doing stuff that your partner wants to do with you.
That Henry Rollins quote, there's no free time, there's no spare time, there's only lifetime.
Yeah.
Go.
Cody Bodeker says, Mike, don't listen to Ethan. So you can take his advice, You can take his advice.
Nothing worse than regret, Mike.
I just want Mike to dance. I gotta see Mike dancing. Could you imagine Mike Dancing with the Stars or whatever it is? I would love that. I would love to see Mike getting down.
I could probably upload a video.
Well, why don't you? Why don't you upload a video of you dancing with your wife? We would all appreciate it. I think so many people would feel better about it. Do it for Stan Lee.
Yeah, do it, Mike. We're all gonna funk shame you into it.
By the way, in honor of Stanley, I'm gonna go with my middle name from now on, so you can just call me Stanley.
All right, Mike Stanley Miller.
That's right.
Why not do that? People.
I tweeted it about an hour ago.
So are you now officially Mike Stanley Miller?
Just call me Stanley Miller, man.
Cody Bodeker says, "I'll bet John Malin is a good dancer."
Yeah, my wife says I'm I remind her of a young Michael Jackson.
How young? My wife says I remind her of an 8-year-old Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
He was a good dancer, young
he
Michael
was good at
Jackson.
it. Yeah.
He was very, very good. How's your father says, I thought the S was for soy. We all thought that, but no, it was Stanley all along. Mike Stanley Miller. And I think that's what you're going to have to go. I don't want to see Mike S. Miller anymore. Mike Stanley Miller.
Gotta change your Twitter handle.
I already did.
You know, why couldn't John Malin be in a Motown band when he was a kid?
Yeah, I should have been. I was robbed. I even lived in Michigan. I even lived in Michigan. They didn't recognize my talent.
That's the thing. I mean, the Hit Machine should have recognized your talent way back when. I would love to see young John Malin doing a duet. You know, you're like 10 years old and you're singing with Smokey Robinson. You know what I mean? God, that'd be great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dancing like a young Michael.
People recognized your talent. They just recognized your art talent. They missed your singing and dancing talent. Motown Malin.
That's true.
Motown Malin.
Oh boy. Honestly, guys, people probably know I have zero singing ability. I also have zero dancing ability. So.
Oh well. Yeah. I'm really bad at dancing too. I don't know what happened with me, but I can't. You know how like if I took a dance class and they said, "Hey, so what you're gonna want to do is do this with your feet and this with your arms," I would be like, "Huh?" I couldn't do it. I have no coordination that way. It would have to become muscle memory. When I was in the school, I was in theater class. I was in the Whiz, and I was like, he's on down the road. It took me a long time to learn my dance steps, and I was just a munchkin. By the way,
man.
Don't tell Captain Cummings that. So yeah, that is I can't do that. I can't. So I respect dancers like John Malin.
Yeah.
I respect dancers like Critias and
You just stop right there.
and Donald DeLay. I have no respect for people like Mike, who has so much talent, so much dancing talent, and he won't use it. He won't use it. He just won't do it. Fool Killer says a white man in the Whiz blasphemy. It is. It is blasphemy. But I was there. I was in 3 school plays. I did Once Upon a Mattress, Mike.
Once Upon a Mattress.
I did Once Upon a Mattress. I did The Wiz. And I did what was the other one? Oh, Bye Bye Birdie.
Bye Bye Birdie.
Yeah. I was supposed to be Conrad Birdie in Bye Bye Birdie. It was a non-speaking role, but I figured, hey, it's a good role because it's my name. I mean, like my name is the title of it, so I want to be Conrad Birdie.
That's our character.
It was me. It was up to me, and then a black guy, and the black guy got it.
You don't even remember his name.
No, I remember his name, but it's irrelevant. It's just that I didn't get to be Conrad Birdie at all, not at all. And it did piss me off a little bit. He got to get out there on stage like Elvis with a guitar, and I played one of the pissed off teenagers that was angry that his girlfriend was, obsessed with Conrad Birdie.
You embraced the role because you were already pissed off.
Yeah. I was like, we hate you, Conrad. Oh, yes, we do. Yeah. That was what I had to do. That was my part in the play. I suck so bad, dude. I thought I could be an actor, but you just saw my acting skills. Can you guys act? Can any of you act?
Lord, no.
I've done extra for some Blue Bloods. I don't know if I can act.
Yeah, I can act.
I'll bet you can. Can you really act?
Yeah.
Let me think.
Tell me how great of an artist I am, Mike.
Yeah.
Let's see some of this acting.
Hey man, I'm not freaking Shakespeare here. Oh, he's in
Shakespeare was a writer.
I'm not Sean Connery, for God's sake.
Very few people have that luxury.
Somebody
very
says Mike's
few.
acting right now. Mike, are you a good enough actor for a Hallmark Christmas special?
Yeah, I can be Dean Kane's stand-in.
You actually could. But by the way, Dean Cain, of course, is outraged by Dean Cain's outraged by what happened on DC social media.
Yeah, I saw that.
Outraged. He said people should be fired.
Yeah, was it Donald? Was that you that wrote that to him?
Wrote what to him?
The letter and like tagged Dean Cain in, like saying, I guess it wasn't you, so
No.
I don't remember who wrote the actual. I guess it's not important.
Is Mike good enough for Lifetime movies? Mike, would you exchange your comic book drawing career for an opportunity to star in Lifetime movie events?
Only an opportunity?
Yeah.
No.
What about just an opportunity? Yeah. What about let's see,
Give Mike
Cinemax late night, like Panties of the Killer, like something like that,
I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I'm gonna go.
Who's the co-star?
Yeah,
Give Mike a tragic scene to act out.
Give Mike a tragic scene to act out. All right, let me see. I would like Mike to.
It's not about Stan Lee. Why is this about me?
Because your middle name is Stanley.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, movie script. We need a screenplay. For Lifetime movie.
Oh, brother.
Of the week. Let's see if we can find a scene for Mike to play.
Do a monologue.
Just talk about your rape or something. That's what all those movies are about.
Do a monologue from Not Without My Daughter.
That is good. Yeah, hold on a second. Let's get a screenplay from Not Without My Daughter.
What is that?
Yeah, Not Without My Anus. Not Without My Daughter. All right, that was a different movie.
Brother, you're killing me.
Actually, I would like you to play the role of Vanilla Ice in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No.
What?
That's from Cool as Ice.
From Cool as Ice.
That would require bad acting.
All right, Mike. You are going to your job, Mike, is to perform the role of Vanilla Ice in the movie, the 1991 classic film.
Answer, no, I can't act.
Cool as Ice. Cool as Ice. Vanilla Ice. Now, I'm going to give you some lines to read. Okay. I want you to read them as best as you can, and I really want you to put yourself in that role. Can you be Vanilla Ice? Can you feel cool as ice? It's the story of a misunderstood man from the wrong side of town. For some reason, he's a guy from the wrong side of town that has a $50,000 motorcycle, and he wears he wears ridiculous clothing and pants, man. Oh my God, dude! Hold on a second. Some people don't understand. Mike, I want you to say, "Drop that zero and get with this hero." Okay, so that's the line. Let me give you the context. The context is, you are speaking to a jive turkey. Okay. No. You're speaking to a woman. You're speaking to a woman about her jive turkey. Hold on a second. Can you just?
Is this scene set in 1974?
Yeah, and I also think you're leaning up against a motorcycle when you say this too.
Yeah, pretend your chair is a motorcycle.
You're doing like a James Dean leaning up against a motorcycle, and then you're like, "Drop that zero, get with the hero."
All right.
Ooh,
go ahead, Mike.
Good, John.
John could do it apparently, but John, you're not an actor like Mike is.
I'm not, definitely.
So, Mike, I would like to hear you say, now, seriously, do your best. And then we're going to we'll do more scenes. We'll do more scenes.
You better be at least as good as Will Smith.
All right. By the way, I'm going to share the screen here. So, this is going to be a scene between Mike and John Malin. Okay, so hold on one second. Let's get this up here. Here's the scene right here. Okay, Mike, you are going to be Johnny. John, you're going to be Nick. Okay, can you see the scene? Can you read it? Let me zoom in on it. All right, so this is the. By the way, yeah, Mike, you are Johnny because Johnny is Vanilla Ice. So go ahead, Mike. Ready and scene.
You know, it's really hard to get into the headspace of Vanilla Ice.
No, it isn't. It shouldn't be
You're
for an
ruining my
actor.
timing. You're ruining my timing, Mike.
All right.
Line.
Mike,
And
can you
action.
just do it? Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. You've got people who are watching. They're
Right,
expecting a Vanilla Ice movie. You're not performing.
Dead air, Mike. Dead air.
Drop that 0 and get with the hero.
That was good, but that's not what we're doing. We're doing this right here.
Oh,
Do the next line, though. Do the next line.
no.
Do it. Do
It
the
even
next
has a
line.
butt in there. That's perfect.
Like Vanilla Ice, I'm gonna go across the street and sling a schlong.
Nice.
Good job. Now, finally, this scene between John Malin and, of course, Mike S. Miller as Vanilla Ice's Johnny. Go.
That's the slate.
Mhm.
So what's up, fellas?
Just doing a little batting practice on your bike.
It's not mine. It's Sir D's.
Who is Sir D?
He's my homeboy.
Yeah, well, homeboy, this.
Excellent.
That is
Scene.
the best script ever.
Scene.
I was so sorry, but John Malin gets the award.
John Malin did a good job there. Now, Critias, I want to get you in on this. You're going to play a woman. Now, I'm sure I don't think you have a problem with that. Not in this day and age. You're going to be Kathy, and then, of course, Mike is reprising his role as Johnny. Go ahead.
All right. Excuse me. I need to see the script real quick. So, where are you from?
Around.
Around?
Yep.
And scene. Good job, guys. Really good job.
Perfect. I believed it.
Yeah. All right. So again, John Van Owen. That is still Johnny. That's you. You are going to play. Donald, are you there?
No, John Van Owen's not.
Donald, you're going to play Nick if you're there.
That's a different
Okay.
character. You want me to play 2 characters in the same movie?
No, John Van Owen is Johnny.
No, it's not.
It is.
It is?
Look at this. Look at the second line of dialogue that John says. It's clearly Vanilla Ice. Go ahead. Donald, you're going to be Nick. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. And action.
See you later, Dick.
It's Nick.
Oh, yeah. Nick.
And scene. Good job, guys.
I love that Mike is playing Vanilla Ice.
I'm not sure I like it. I'm not sure that I wanted a Vanilla Ice impression. I would rather have Mike performing the role.
I'll
Creating.
do it as Christian Slater.
No. Don't imitate someone. Just be yourself. You have to figure out who Johnny is. Johnny is someone who says, drop that 0, get with this hero. That is his entire motivation, is to make everyone drop all of the zeros and come to him because he's a hero. He is a hero. Okay, so he's saying, if you're not a hero, I want you dropped and then get with me. So that is his motivation. Yeah, Mikey, you ready to go again? And I would like John to play Grace Winslow, who is Johnny's girlfriend's mother. Can you get into that role, that headspace, John?
Yep, I'm already there.
Okay. And action.
Hey, yo, what's up, man?
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for a cat.
We don't have a cat.
Kathy, your daughter?
And scene. Why the hell would she assume that Vanilla Ice is going door to door looking for cats, for house cats. God only knows. Whoever wrote this is a genius. This is a good line here. Tommy Winslow. Go ahead, Donald. Could you read Tommy's line, please?
Wade wrote this.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, I see. As soon as you're done making sex?
There you go. As soon as you're done making sex. This is another line. Go ahead. Of course, Mike, you are recurring. You are Johnny.
Sharper than. Sorry.
Cut.
Go again. Action.
Sharper than the point on the tip of a nail.
Could I have that with more contempt, please? More and a little bit more racism. Go ahead. Action.
Sharper than a point on the tip of a nail.
Excellent. Cut. Print.
I don't know how racist that was, but I gave it my best shot.
This is another great scene, loving scene between John Malin and Mike S. Miller. Right here. John, you're playing Kathy. Go.
Okay.
Action.
I'll see you later.
You're seeing me now.
Oh, I'm seeing you now.
Let's go on.
Can we stop this, please, for the love of God and all that is holy?
The next line. Keep going. And yeah, keep going here. So the next, it goes on.
What are you doing here?
Yo, you asked me.
It actually typed asked.
I love the lines. You're not wasting my time. I'm just cooling. All right, let me see. Let's find some more excellent dialogue here. All right, so Johnny and Kathy again, right here. This scene. Ready and action.
All right. So how long have you lived here?
All my life. Why?
What's it like?
What do you mean? What's it like?
You know, having parents and all that stuff. A brother. All that stuff, yo. Sorry.
All that stuff, yo. All right, Mike, I want you to play this scene again. But this time, Mike, this time I want you to add a little bit of grizzled war veteran, World War I veteran. Yeah, like you know, Vanilla Ice has just got done because 100 years ago fighting World War I. He's he's lost an eye, and he's pissed off at the Germans, and he will never forgive them. Okay, so you can incorporate that into the character and action.
All right. So how long have you lived here?
All my life. Why?
What's it like?
What do you mean? What's it like?
You know, your parents and all that stuff. My brother.
More racism. More racism. Read that last line
You're
again.
on my line, man. You're
More
stuck on my
racism.
line.
Amp it up. Go ahead. Do that last line again.
I can't have the racism. You know, having parents and all that stuff. A brother. All that stuff, yo.
Excellent scene. Beautiful work, guys. I'm really proud.
The yo, I was trying to
The yo was
around it with the yo.
yeah, that was a good part. Really well done. I'm very proud of you guys for that. So as it turns out, we've got many actors. Mike, you did a fantastic job. John Malin, I really think you stole every scene that you were in. Every scene you were in. Now we lost 500 viewers as that was going on.
I knew we should have done Not Without My Daughter.
Oh, we could do that. We could do Not Without My Daughter. That is no problem. Not Yentl. We could do Yentl. All right, hold on a second. This is all very important, but I would like to do. You want to do Yentl or no?
No.
You sure? We could do not.
Sure. What the hell?
Try to understand. Papa, can you help me not be frightened?
I changed my mind about Yentl. Let's not do Yentl. Yeah, I'm picturing a big production here of Not Without My Daughter. Why won't this show up? Here it is. Let's see if we have quotes. And what are the best quotes from Not Without My Daughter?
Oh hell no!
There aren't any.
Are there
I
no
have
quotes?
idea.
No,
I've never seen that
even
movie.
even the Vanilla Ice movie, I knew the drop the zero, get with the hero.
Okay, so this is going to be a lot more touching and sad, but I do think that this is going to be good. This is a good drama.
Topical.
It is topical. Mike, do you have a daughter?
I do have a daughter.
All right, so think about how you don't want to not have your daughter. Okay, this is the first. Can you see this? Is this good or no?
Mhm.
All right. So this scene here is going to be
Did we
between.
seriously lose 500 viewers?
Yes, and we're still losing them. We're still losing them. They'll appreciate this later. All right. So
From this stream.
now John Malin is going to be Moody. Okay, and Mike, that makes you Betty Mamoody. Okay,
Oh.
I don't know why it's Mamoody. That sounds like Nazis, but Mamoody. So John is Moody. You're Betty Mamoody. All right. I don't know
Is
the
Moody
context.
a guy or girl?
I think Moody's a guy for some reason.
Okay.
I get the feeling that Moody's a guy. All right, so this is the script. You guys ready? We can go back. Mike, again, play up the racism and action.
I don't know how to say this to you. We're not going back. We're staying here.
What do you mean? How long?
I want to get a job here in the hospital.
What?
I want us to live in Iran.
No.
What if you're married to someone that was like, I want us to live in Iran? Could be. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. That just got to me. Go ahead.
There's nothing. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you do the no?
I did.
Oh, okay. There's nothing for me in America.
No. What? Are you crazy? We're Americans. Your daughter's an American. Moody, honey. Sorry. Moody, honey. You're upset about your job. I understand that. We're going to go back today and we're going to fix it.
I want Mahtab to grow up here.
No.
I think she should become a Muslim.
No. You lied to me. You lied to me. You held the Quran and you swore to me that nothing was going to happen. You were planning this all the time. You lied to me.
And scene. Amazing, guys. I got goosebumps. You should see my arms.
It's
Oh
like
my
you
God.
two were really married.
All right.
Couple trying to stay in Iran.
We need someone to play Hussein. Who would like to play Hussein? Critias or Donald?
Sure.
Well, Mike or John, I want you to sit out this round. I would like to get Donald or Critias to play Hussein. So who will do it?
I'll do a thing.
All right, Critias is going to do it. Critias, you are Hussein. Of course, Mike, you are still Betty Mahmoudi. So, yeah, it's a very heart-wrenching scene. And action.
My father's ill. He could be dying. And I have to go see him.
I don't think your father would have wanted you to go back if it meant losing your daughter.
Why can't I go see him? Come back and leave later with Mahtab.
You can't leave Mahtab here, not with Moody's family. They're from the provinces, and this regime only encourages them. There are some people who consider a girl ready for marriage at 9 years of age. Child brides are not unknown.
Beautiful. Child brides are not unknown. And scene. Wow, cut. Great job, guys. Great job. The chat is saying, Ethan, this is gay. Shut it down. No. I refuse. All right. So one more. Let me see. How many more scenes are there? Which is a good one here. Oh, let's do another scene between John and Mike, Betty Mahmoudi and Moody. This is good. This is look. There's some laughter in this one. Ready and action.
John, you have to laugh unexpectedly.
Oh, I did laugh unexpectedly. I laughed at your line.
What's so funny?
You know, they think we make love all the time.
Who?
The family.
Why?
Well, because here, you know, after they make love, they have to take a shower because, you know, they can't pray unless they do, you know. It's considered unclean. And we're taking 2, 3 showers a day.
Oh, God. What do they think? We're 2 rabbits or something? I'm not taking another shower my whole time here. You knew that the whole time.
They didn't know you were such a swinger.
You knew that all along. They were all giggling every time we took a shower.
And cut. What a disturbing scene. By the way, I almost wish that Doug TenNapel had played that scene a little bit. It would be interesting to get Doug TenNapel in here at this point. All right, how about this one right here? Just this one line.
End it.
No, one more line, Mike, to just underline this. Go ahead.
Which one?
This line right here.
Oh. I want my baby!
Oh my God.
Hey, Ethan,
Yes.
I have a request for you.
Yes.
The bird cage.
The bird cage. Well, maybe next time we'll do.
Critias, maybe block you.
If I'm on that one, can I be Hank Azaria's character?
Oh my God. Oh, I'm dying. Yeah, people have chills. That's a wrap. A fantastic job. Not without my daughter. Not without my daughter by Comicsgate. What a great, great thing. You guys are fantastic. And I think a good way to tribute Stan Lee. I just had to laugh. Poor Stan Lee. Rest in peace. We love you. You've done what a life, and influenced so many people. And we're going to try to carry on in your legacy. I mean, we are your, I'd say we're his grandkids.
Yeah.
You know? So we're your grandchildren. We are going to try to do our best stuff.
Whereas your children or abject disappointments, we will do better.
Oh yeah, well, definitely abject disappointments.
And we will not be coming after your money either, Stan.
Not interested.
Speak for yourself.
Only in spirit.
Not interested at all. We just we're grateful for your life and everything that you created. Everyone's thrilled, by the way, with your performances, guys. Troggy Trog says, I got chills and a cold sweat and heart palpitations. Thank you. I think you actually should probably go to the doctor, but yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Stan Lee is cringing in heaven right now. And if that's true, that was the ultimate tribute. We just wanted to make Stan cringe in heaven. And great. Anthony James says, you guys made a mistake getting into comics. You should have sought the silver screen. Yeah, absolutely. Sierra Whiskey said you lost 500 viewers when this acting business started. I know that, and we're still losing them. Xcal 8 says Mike did great. Michael McKinney says it gave me a boner. FizzFop 1 says Malin is ready for Broadway. And Kenneth Sungard says, I'm so impressed I can't breathe.
Wow.
So this is all feedback. It's all pretty good feedback from people. And I think, Kenneth says losers, all of them. I think that means us. I think we're all.
Maybe for Christmas, we should do a Christmas Carol.
I don't see why not. I don't see why we couldn't do more acting.
We should do the Star Wars Christmas special.
Could we find the script for the Star Wars Christmas special? Can you imagine doing the Wookiee scene? The first 45 minutes is Wookiee.
Come on. I already had to watch that twice. No. Don't make me act in it.
A live reenactment of Star Wars The Holiday Special. That's what we care about. By the way, that would be good. I don't know why schools don't do that, in theater. School play. It's
kids.
The Holiday Special. Yeah, so a lot of people are excited about this, and we might do now that I know that we have so many great actors here, I don't understand why we couldn't do more of this. Whip, whip, stir, stir.
Because you lost a quarter of your viewership.
Well, you know, I mean, they'll come back. They'll come back, I'm sure. Cinema
Someone
Artist
said-
Pro Secrets.
Someone said to do Brokeback Mountain with John Malin and Mike Miller.
Oh no.
Get Cecil in there.
One scene of Brokeback Mountain between you guys.
Nope.
Mike's not doing it. All right.
I ain't,
can't
I,
quit
ain't,
you.
I ain't scared. I ain't scared.
More racism. Just insert more. A little. That's the best direction ever. More. We need more racism. Okay, hold on. Let me look
I
up
can't
Brokeback
quit
Mountain.
you, Beaner.
Mike, if you don't do this, that's it.
More
I'm
racism.
yeah, I'm telling you, Mike, you're gonna have to do this, and I don't want excuses. You have 1,490 people now, and
we'll have
plummeting.
about 1,000 people if we start rolling this.
If that, if that. So I don't see why you couldn't. John Malin's willing to do it.
Yeah.
I'm
an artiste.
there's some bad words in this. So Mike, I want you to edit them out. Okay, will you edit them out or no?
It'll be the TV version.
Exclusive cover for my Meg graphic novel. I'm very busy.
You've got kids. You've got kids in the room, and I'm trying to make you read Brokeback Mountain. Come on, Mike.
I have kids in the room.
Throw your kids out, Mike. Let's go.
You don't want your kids to learn about history? It's cowboys.
Yes, it is.
It's all about cowboys.
Yeah.
Rhinestone Cowboy. Why isn't this working? Oh, here it is. Okay. Ennis Del
in
Mar.
love.
All right. Let me see here. Oh, this isn't so bad right here, is it? No. That's a woman. Hold on.
Imagine pitching this. I want to do a film about cowboys. Westerns are kind of dead, but it's a porn.
Yeah.
Soft core.
Sold. It wasn't really soft core either. I don't know if you saw. I saw some of it, and
I did not see it. I
yeah.
had no interest in watching two dudes make out on a mountain or whatever they do.
Well, I mean, I don't like
backs.
mountains. I don't dig mountains.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm scared
Here's
of
the
heights.
scene. John, you are Ennis Del Mar, and Mike, you are Jack Twist. All right. There's no bad language. Well, there is. Ennis has a bad word in the last line. You can feel free to either say it or edit it out. The way you edit out a curse is just to remove the vowels, and then just hit the consonants pretty hard. Okay. All right, and action, John.
You ever get the feeling, I don't know, or when you're in town and someone looks at you suspicious, like he knows, and then you go out on the pavement and everyone's looking at you like they all know too?
Well, might be able to get out of there, Find yourself someplace different. Maybe Texas.
Texas? Sure, maybe you can convince Alma to let you and Lorraine adopt the girls, and we can just live together herding sheep, and then rain money from L.D. Newsome, and whiskey will flow from the streams. Jack, that's real smart. Real smart.
Go to hell, Ennis Del Mar. You want to live your miserable life? Go right ahead.
Fine.
I was just thinking out loud.
Yep, you're a real thinker there, goddamn Jack fucking Twist. Got all figured
Kids
out.
in the room, John.
And scene cut. What a good job, guys. I believe. By the way, we lost 50 viewers during that, which is better than I thought. It's better than that. Cecil, would you like to come in here and perform? Now, Cecil is an actor. Now, is anyone willing to? Well, I wonder if Cecil's actually willing to do this because, this is kind of what he's about.
Acting.
He is an actor and a thespian, I would say.
He probably doesn't want to mix up with amateurs like us.
Yeah. But I mean, he could teach people. He could teach people a few things. So I don't know. I'm kind of hoping he will. Cecil, I'm sending you the link if you want to come in, even though you already had the link. People want less profanity, but
Yeah.
No promises. Mike, good job editing out your curse. John, bad. Well, Mike, John, bad job at editing out your curses. And Mike has kids in the room. Where
Yeah.
he is reading lines from Brokeback Mountain. Do appreciate that. It's all good. All right, so let me find another scene. Do you want to keep doing Brokeback Mountain? You do? Okay.
Sure.
Who answered? Nobody answered that.
Oh, I heard it. I heard the answer. I was actually, yeah.
The voice in Ethan's head said yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I was asking the audience. The audience says yes. They love it. They absolutely. Some people say call 911. More profanity. People are saying I'll kill myself. No more Brokeback. Sierra
God.
Whiskey. What?
Someone said Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
I don't know if we could do that.
Yes.
No. You know how many clips are going to be cut from that?
He wore a shining star. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be the lines we're all going to be doing. Mr. I got kids in the room.
Yeah.
We could do the jail scene. So, seeing as how you are my guest and I am your host, what do you like to do? You
The sheriff is a bong.
The sheriff is a bong.
All right, let's do another scene from Brokeback Mountain now. Everybody's really excited about it.
Played, yeah. That's good.
Everyone's excited about this scene right here.
You are bleeding viewers. You are bleeding viewers.
I'm not at all. Okay, yeah, more people are coming in, or more people decided they're going to watch the replay. Jack, of course, is Mike S. Miller, and Ennis Del Mar is John Malin, and action.
You know what, friend? This is a bit of an unsatisfactory situation. It used to come down so easy. Now it's like seeing the Pope.
Jack, I got to work. I mean, in them earlier days, I just quit the job. You forgot what it's like being broke all the time. You ever hear of child support? I'll tell you this. I can't quit this one, and I can't get the time off. It's hard enough getting this one. The trade-off is August. You got a better idea?
I did once.
You did once. You ever been to Mexico, Jack Twist? Because what they got in Mexico for boys like you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, is that a problem?
All right, let's start over again. No, start with the last two lines, because John, I think you goofed up.
I missed the word. Yep.
Okay, action.
You did once. You ever been to Mexico, Jack Twist? Because I heard what they got in Mexico for boys like you.
Hell yeah, I've been to Mexico. Is that a problem?
Good job. Excellent job. And scene. Great work, guys. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I'm impressed with everyone's acting chops here. Very, very impressed indeed. And of course, people are happy that Mike made it PG, rated PG. Good job, Mike. Yeah, and I didn't notice the difference, you know.
Difficult material too. I've not seen the movies, and I don't know what my motivation is.
I do.
Becoming a werewolf.
Oh.
Yeah, everyone in the chat likes it. Sierra Whiskey says 4 out of 10, boys. That's pretty good. That's better than I thought. We have about 4 out of 10 of the viewers that we used to have as well. Gary Hughes says EVS is going to edit all of this together, isn't he? Yes, I think I will. I will actually take the scene and I'm going to I'll drop out the dialogue, and I'm going to insert your guys' dialogue into the mouths of the actors. What do you think of that?
Do it.
Do it.
You hear me laughing in the background.
That would be funny. Good stuff. All right, guys. 5 out of 10 people are saying, what do you guys think here? Metatron's Cube says EVS will rearrange all of it. I might. JP4 says, why Brokeback Mountain? Somebody recommended it, and I thought it would be funny. We did Not Without My Daughter. And what was the first one that we did? Oh, Vanilla Ice is Cool as Ice. These are good movies. Pegasus Meterick says, so much insertion. Yes, definitely. And Kevin B says, this movie is not nearly soy enough. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty. I thought everything that we did was fairly soy based. But if you guys have other suggestions, I would love to hear our actors, perform. Because the thing about John Malin and Mike S. Miller and Critias and Donald DeLay is they can be anybody. They can play any roles. So we should do more stuff like that in the future. And all right, let me read the rest of these super chats.
Hold on, Cecil.
Hello.
Is Cecil in? Oh, Cecil's here. Oh dear.
Phone no, it's not. I don't know how good this is gonna be. I'm on a phone, which I normally won't.
You sound okay. You sound better than Zach did the other day on his phone.
Oh, he had it was a burrito cooking.
Yeah, he had a burrito. He's got to get better equipment. I'm like, dude,
Gotta get no excuses.
A million excuses. He's like, I can't live stream because the Wi-Fi here. So it's like, dude, don't live there then. Really think about what he's losing in terms of like super chats every month because he can't live stream because of where he lives. Is it so great to live there? What would Zach make? Zach would make like $10,000 a month in live streams, and super chats, and he can't do it because he's living somewhere in, East Jabip, Texas. Move.
He's probably saving like $300 a month in rent.
Like dumb, It's like, God, you'd be making so much money if you were live streaming every day. Everybody loves you.
He does have almost 100,000 subscribers, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got like 92, I think. So he's gonna be the first comic skater to actually hit 100,000. Absolutely.
I mean, he could quit his the programming job, his data job, and just become a YouTuber.
Dude, he kind of should, because that's I told him, I was like, you're like a full-time political figure now. I mean, Zach is Comicsgate, he represents Comicsgate, and everybody wants to hear what he has to say. He should be producing more comics. I mean, yeah, it is true that the NPCs are making fun of his first book, but that's his first book. This is the thing. Go back and look at, Cyberfrog #1, or, all of your first efforts are all going to be full of mistakes. And you have to learn. It takes time.
Could you suggest to him that he hire an editor?
I feel like I derailed everything with Zach talk, but I just want to also say to everyone involved, this is a really touching tribute to Stan.
We did it.
We should do a freaking Marvel movie for Stan.
You want to do a Marvel movie for Stan?
Yeah.
An Avenger scene, maybe?
How about the Punisher?
The Punisher. I don't know if Stan created the Punisher. I don't think he did.
How about Roger Corman's Fantastic Four?
Now that is something else. All right, let me read these super chats and then we're gonna do that. Let's see. Zebulon Pike says, heavy heart today, but he's in a better place. Gojirify says, when I met him a few years ago at a show and had a picture with him, he smiled and grabbed my hand with both of his and gripped tight. Made me feel important. I love that, man. James Dean,
secret way of saying, get me out of here.
Yeah, help me. James Dean, creator of Conflict, SJW monsters are already attacking, but I will never forget reading his words in the back of every book I could afford to scrounge up for. He cared. Gojirify says, we're here with you, Ethan. We're all blue. We lost our father. Darth Axon says, hey, Ethan, I want to get into writing comics. Any tips of where to start and finding artists? Right here. I mean, there are a lot of artists in this community, and I think it'll be pretty easy to find one. Another nobody says, with great power comes great responsibility and pie. Yeah. Timecode Mechanic says, when I was a kid and Stan Lee was in town for a convention, I called the hotel. I got to talk to him, but I didn't really know what to say. Seen him at Comic-Cons. Egg Chen 6 Demon Bag says, I know we're all mourning the passing of Stan Lee, but can we also celebrate the gift of life? My wife is having a C-section tomorrow morning. We're welcoming my second child, Natalia Gabriella Estrada. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
That's wonderful. Gojirify says, Joan pushed him to make a comic his way before he quit. It was the Fantastic Four. Awesome. Granny, what a great women. I swear to God, thank God for women. You know what I mean? I really do. If you get the right woman. Grand Inquisitor says, Uncle E, go watch Sargon's vid on Stan Lee ASAP. Why? All right, I will. Sierra Whiskey says, Mike's ponytail twirling in the wind on Dancing with the Stars. Yeah, everybody wants to see Mike dance. Liam says, Dean regularly appears on Ladder with Crowder. With the passing of Stan in this drama, it might be the right time for one of you guys to go on. Everybody says that. We don't get invited to go on. If Steven Crowder wanted me to come on, I'd go on. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I'm sitting there going, nah, I'm not going to go on. The time has to be right. We have to actually get invitations in order to do that. And then I would send John Malin. Mark C says,
yeah, maybe I should go. I'd be a good representative, I think.
I think you would be. Cecil would be good too. I would send Cecil. Ragan Grat says, Raging Rat says, hi all, did Stanley pass? And if so, when? He passed today. I don't have the exact time. Yeah, we lost Stan Lee today. It's the absolute end of an era of comics. And yeah, we don't have too many more of them. We don't have too many golden age, geniuses left. Mark C says Doug heard this acting and actually decided to shower. Liam says, serious question. What will the death of Stan mean for the industry? What is going to happen now that Stan isn't here to disappoint or denounce? What do you think? What do you think, Mike?
Denounce? Oh, they mean people were denouncing him? Oh, they'll continue to denounce him in memory.
Yeah.
They're just wretched, heartless, soulless people who are just bitter and empty inside.
Yeah. Yul Brenner says, you're all lumpy. I think he means the holiday special. Aaron Cook says, how about some Scarface? Astros says, what fresh hell was that? And Gojirfi says, can Malin play it like Teen Wolf? Now, that would be kind of cool. Teen Wolf and Brokeback Mountain mashup. I think that might be.
Teen Wolf 2, written by Jeff Loeb.
Might be good. Dastel says, do Rose Tico and Finn, please.
That's a lot of hair to navigate for some of those scenes. Gonna need a little bit more than spit.
Yeah, that was honestly, that was something else. Cecil saw that part too. All right, what movie are we looking for? What movie are we doing next? Any suggestions?
Do the Birdcage.
I don't know about the Birdcage. It doesn't have to be gay content. It can just be a terrible movie.
It's Fantastic Four.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, that's definite. Let's see if we can find Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. I still haven't seen that.
No, I mean,
very few people in this world have, I think.
Did it just get released in some way? I mean, it was news. It was in the news.
It was. I think he released it.
Who released it? Roger Corman did?
Yeah. So I think he was holding on for it for a while, and I remember there being a lot of bootlegs going around.
Yeah.
Starring a young Jay Underwood.
Who's Jay Underwood?
He was in that, was it Disney, Not Quite Human? And The Boy Who Could Fly?
The answer to who's Jay Underwood is exactly.
There isn't a lot of dialogue here, I'm afraid. I wish there was. I wish we had more quotes. I mean, there's The Thing. It's clobbering time. And then another line from The Thing. What kind of a thing have I turned into? I got to see this movie. What kind of a
so bad.
Mr. Fantastic, Reed slugs Dr. Doom. That's for trying to kill me. Reed punches Doom again. That's for trying to kill my friends. And this is for being a real jerk. And then he punches him over the edge of a parapet. Written by, oh my God, just about any comic book writer right now. That's Mark Waid writing there, right? This is for being a real jerk.
This is for being a Nazi.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if I want to see that movie. I would see it with you guys. We could actually watch the Fantastic Four together.
We could roast it, yeah.
Yeah, that might be kind of fun. But we could do Fantastic Four from 2005. Was that bad? Did you guys like that movie or no?
It was okay.
Yeah, I mean, compared to the stuff DC's doing, it was golden.
Yeah.
It was
I
for
think,
kids.
I think we need edgier material.
All right, so let's get some advice.
Blazing Saddles.
Whoa.
Blazing Saddles.
That's deep end.
Back to the Future.
I want to do Goodfellas with Cecil.
Oh yeah, Goodfellas is awesome.
Cecil, are you willing to perform a little Goodfellas?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the movie. I've seen that movie 100 times. I really have. It's one of my favorite movies. All right, so we're going to do the scene from the club where they're sitting around, and Henry Hill calls Cecil, who's going to be playing what's his name? Hold on a second. All right.
Mike might want to put on the headphones.
Tommy?
Tommy, yeah, that's his name.
Where
Tell
are you
Tommy he's funny.
from?
Who wants to be Henry Hill? Who wants to be Henry Hill? John Malin does.
All right.
Sure.
I mean, my God, you know. All right, so John Malin, you are Henry Hill. Anthony Stabile is going to be played by Critias.
All right.
And Tommy DeVito is going to be played by Cecil. Wow. Okay, so I will scroll down. Wait, maybe I can zoom out a little bit and get the whole thing in here.
What site is this on so I can find it? 'Cause,
Well, it's right on the screen right now.
I know, but I'm on a phone. It's like the size of a stamp.
Oh, go to IMDb and go to quotes from the movie. And that's where this scene is. So go to IMDb Goodfellas and look at the quotes. Yeah. And this is one of the greatest scenes probably in gangster movie history of all time.
Why am I having a hard time?
I don't know. Yeah, we could also do Full Metal Jacket with Mike as Gunnery Sergeant Hartman. That's possible as well.
Yeah, that'd be going.
I would actually like Cecil to play Gunnery. Cecil should be the sergeant. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I've got to take off. It's time for dinner.
I got it. That's the first one.
Good to have you here.
If you guys are still streaming when I get done, I'll probably hop back on.
All right. Yeah, we'll have 3 people in here by then.
Well, enjoy the scene.
Yeah. I don't know why people don't like what I like. Pisses me off. How could you not like this? How could you not want to watch Cecil play Tommy DeVito
No
in
respect for
Goodfellas?
the arts. No respect.
Are we viewers right now? Is that what
Well, we had 2,000 when we were talking about Stan Lee, and I said everything I had to say about Stan Lee, and I just wanted to cheer up because I actually was feeling kind of extremely sad, and I just want to laugh. So this is what we're doing now. Did you find the scene?
I got it.
Okay, beautiful. So we're starting out with Henry Hill, played by John Malin. And ready, action.
You're a pistol. You're really funny. You're really funny.
What do you mean I'm funny?
It's funny, you know. It's a good story. It's funny. You're a funny guy.
What do you mean? The way I talk? What?
It's just, you know, it's just funny. It's funny. You know, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how? What's funny about it?
Tommy, no, you got it all wrong.
Oh, Anthony, he's a big boy. He knows what he said. What did you say? Funny how?
Just
what?
Just, you know, you're funny.
You mean, let me understand this, because maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a little fucked up, maybe. But I'm funny how? I mean, I'm funny like a clown? I amuse you? I make you laugh? I'm here to fucking amuse you? What do you mean I'm funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Just, you know, how you tell the story. What?
No, I don't know. You said it. How do I know? You said I'm funny. How the fuck am I funny? What the fuck is so funny about me? Tell me. Tell me what's funny.
Get the fuck out of here, Tommy.
Ah, you motherfucker. I almost had him, you stuttering brick. Frankie's shaking. I wonder about you sometimes, Henry. You may fold under questioning.
And scene. God, yeah. Excellent work. Wow, that was fantastic. Cecil.
Yes.
Cecil, take a bow.
Yeah,
You nailed it.
Wow, dude. Wow. All right, let's do one more. Let's get Tommy and Billy Bats will be played by Mike. Mike, feel free to edit your curses if you want. You are going to be Billy Bats and then Cecil, Tommy DeVito. And are you guys ready?
Yeah.
And action.
No more shines, Billy.
What?
I said no more shines. Maybe you didn't hear about it. You've been away a long time. They don't go up there and tell you. I don't shine shoes anymore.
Relax, will you? You flip right out. What's got into you? I'm breaking your balls a little bit, that's all. I'm only kidding with you.
Yeah, sometimes you don't sound like you're kidding, you know? There's a lot of people around.
I'm only kidding with you. We're having a party. I just came home and I haven't seen you in a long time, and I'm breaking your balls, and you're getting fresh. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm sorry, too. It's okay, no problem.
Okay. Salute. Now go home and get your shoebox.
You motherfucking mutt! You fucking piece of shit!
Yeah. Come on.
Motherfucker, he brought the fucking button, the fake old tough guy. I brought your fucking button, you fuck. Keep that motherfucker here. Keep him here.
Scene. Cecil.
Cecil, you got to go into acting.
Did you realize that you are really, really good? I mean, you're,
Yeah.
Excellent. Should we do another movie? Should we do a different movie?
Yeah,
I'm kind of in the office screaming, so I don't even know who's listening on the other room.
yeah. Just stay out my way, Cecil.
Mike's kids are crying. Mike's hair turned white.
On the headphones, Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't even realize. I'm sorry.
It's Mike's fault.
All right, so we're
down as low as I could and still heard it.
We'll take another movie. Does anybody have a scene or a movie that they would like to see happen?
Wow, chat's going crazy.
I would almost like to hear Cecil do.
Jesus,
what's in the box?
Yeah. Do something from 7. That'd be awesome.
7 would be good. I kind of want to hear Cecil play Batman in Batman Begins. I don't know why, maybe it's just me. I think he's going to nail that one too. So, those are my. Yeah, those are my
as Cecil, or as Bruce Wayne.
Well, he's going to be Batman, I mean. So hold on a second. Yeah. Well, no, you can do it however you want. It's open to your interpretation, of course. Let me see here. Wow, there's a lot of dialogue here. This is great.
Which one is this we're going to? Batman Begins?
Yeah, Batman Begins, I think. I would kind of like to see it. We could do Alfred and Batman. Oh, okay, yeah, this is the scene right here. This is what we want to do. Cecil, can you find this? It's a Batman and Flash. Yeah, I really think you're going to be good. Who wants to be Flash? Who's up to that right now?
I can do it.
Okay. All right. Curtis is going to be Flash. I think is a crook. He's just a, just regular crook.
All right.
How far down is it on the...
It's pretty far down. So just look for Batman and Flash.
I guess he was the bad cop. I looked him up. He's the heavyset bad cop from...
oh, right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. The big fat guy who was eating pie with one hand.
Yeah, he was Eggert in the 1989 one. Was the guy? Yeah. He's like the dirty cop. I'm fucking still. Damn, this is down far.
I know there's a lot of dialogue, but it's all like most of it is Bruce Wayne. So I wanted to find a Batman scene.
Batman. Flash. Okay, Word on the Street. That one. Oh no, that doesn't have.
No.
Where were the other drugs going?
Batman has laid a snare trap for which yanks Flash by his leg 70 feet into the air.
Oh, maybe you can go one time Cecil and then one time with Cecil as Batman.
Oh yeah. Just Cecil, just regularly. If Cecil were Batman, not Cecil as Batman, just Cecil if Batman was Cecil, I would say.
I think you could do Cecil as Smuggler as Batman.
How far down the rabbit hole are we going with?
Yeah, it's tricky. There's a lot of things to do here.
Doing my voice reading as Batman. Let's see. No,
your first line should be, "Where were the other drugs going?"
And there's so much fucking dialogue here. They give the whole.
I know. The whole movie's on there. It's great.
Flash, I have kids' feed. No, Flash. Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, I got it.
Okay, ready? Wait, kids to feed. Did I see that?
No, that was a different two dialogues down.
Okay, you're with me though, right?
Yep.
Okay, and action.
Where are the other drugs going?
I never knew. I don't know. I swear to God.
Swear to me.
I don't know. I never knew. Never. They went to some guy for a couple of days before they went to the dealers.
Why?
There was something else in the drugs. Something hidden.
What?
I never went to the drop-off point. It was in the Narrows. Cops only go there when they're in force.
Do I look like a cop?
No.
Rapidly lowers Flash once more before dropping him to the ground. And scene. Fantastic work, Cecil. I really believe you in almost every role. Really, really good. Yeah, like I was expecting, you just to play Batman, but you really became Batman in that scene.
Yeah, your acting is incredible.
I can act, and I steal children's candy. Triple threat.
Yeah, I really, you are the Orson Welles of Comicsgate, I would say.
I think I could get that person well shaped in no time.
Definitely. Yeah, fantastic. Everyone's excited about this. Everyone in the chat is really impressed with Cecil. Everyone's saying not enough dialogue for Cecil in that scene. Well, let me see if I can find something.
I'm in an office. There are other people.
You're in an office and you're doing this?
I came in late to do consulting work, and I'm in like it's an office with a window and a door, and it's closed, but they definitely hear screaming.
Worship me. You should do the Joker and Batman scene in the prison, in the jail cell.
Oh yeah.
Somebody might want to take a few scenes for a moment. Let me just settle down. I think the Tommy DeVito scene really probably has a few people listening in.
Oh my God, yeah. That was really, really good stuff. But all right, so I think we're gonna call it. I know we're having fun, but I think we're gonna call this one today and just say goodbye. I got to get back to work. I'm trying to finish this 2-page spread. And Cecil shows up late. But Cecil, thank you so much for that fantastic work. I want to thank John Malin for his excellent acting as well.
My pleasure.
Critias was fantastic. Mike, you were good.
Mike, see what I do while we were talking?
Yeah, very, very good. He edited the profanity out. He did a nice Christian version of Brokeback Mountain. It was PG, rated PG, so that was excellent work. And to everyone listening, who's still listening, who's still hanging in, thank you so much.
How many are left?
Wait, how much did he edit it? Did they go home to their wives?
Yeah, he changed a few things. He
changed the whole movie.
He rewrote the script a little bit, and that was fine. We gave him license to do that. Black Russian Bot says Mike was okay, And Antonio once again shows up right as I'm saying goodbye. Antonio,
this sucks, but I love you guys. So
Antonio.
We love you too.
Oh my God.
Somebody else could start up another stream so I can listen while I draw. I'd rather listen to you guys instead of running the chat. But thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And everyone, hold a good thought. Enjoy a Stan Lee comic book today. I hope we made you laugh, and I hope we made you bring back some memories. And this is it's a sad day. We've lost a titan, an absolute titan of entertainment, of comics, and I don't know. I guess we all knew this was going to come. This was happening, but I didn't know it was going to happen today, and I guess nobody did except for Mike. So thank you, everyone.
I saw that tweet too.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you again later on. Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Later, buddy.
Bye. Later.